Welcome to MPUNGWE-PUNGWE YouTube channel. Subscribe for you to enjoy more of our videos anytime we upload.
My observation at that particular time.
And what was your observation? Because I remember when we came to Nzuzu about 3 months ago, when this committee came to your office in Nzuzu about 3 months ago. Your mic is on. You informed the committee that the weather in Nzuzu was so bad that you could not see the end of the runway. Was that what you informed Colonel Sambalova at 12 minutes past 10?
Thank you, Honorable. I did not inform him to say the weather is bad, I cannot see the end of the runway. My core duty is only to say or to give the information to the pilot. So what I gave him was the weather given by the meteorological office and then my observation. But I cannot say I have observed this according to the runway or this, because when I give him the information I have, he has to make a decision.
But do you confirm that when this committee traveled to your office in Nzuzu, you informed us that the weather was so bad on the day that you were unable to see the end of the runway? You confirm that?
I confirm.
Chair, that should be all from me.
We had Mwanza Central.
Yeah.
At that time. Okay.
Thank you very much, Chair. There is a submission here from Mr. Moyo, but I think what he has just said now is not appearing in the submission. In the submission, there's only a mention of 5 kilometers visibility, and here he's now saying he told him the weather update given by the mate, and he also gave him his observation. But on his in his submission, there's no mention of the 8 kilometers. So I just want to find out if he's changing now, or maybe he forgot to put it in the submission. Did you forget maybe to indicate that you informed the late Captain Sambaropa that the visibility was 8 kilometers, but your observation was 5 kilometers, because that's not appearing in your report?
Thank you, Honorable Member for Mwanza Central. You have to take this in mind that this is a report which I was writing to my authorities. Now, in the report, I have to indicate what exactly was there at that particular time. That's why I didn't indicate the 8 kilometers in here. And to say that I maybe partly to say I indicated the report somewhere, I have said find the attached weather report. So I can comfortably say it was there, the 8 kilometers. But on the initial writing on the report, I didn't indicate, because what mattered most to me was the observation that at that time it was 5 kilometers.
All right, if it was your observation, Mr. Moyo, the runway, how many kilometers is the runway?
At that time, it was 1.5.
Right, it was 1.5 kilometers.
Correction, Honorable Chair, it was 1.3.
1.3 kilometers. And you just confirmed with, you confirmed when Kasangazi asked you, or Kasangazi asked you to confirm if you told this committee that you the weather was bad and you could not see the end of the runway, and you confirmed, right?
Correct.
But you told the pilot that it was 5 kilometers, visibility was 5 kilometers, yet you could not see the end of the runway, which is 1.2 kilometers. Is there a discrepancy maybe somewhere? 1.3 kilometers, because which is 1.3 kilometers, but you told the pilot that visibility was 5 kilometers, and you're saying that was your observation. And again, your observation is that you could not see the end of the runway. Can you correct that information?
Thanks, Honorable Chair. Let me remind you that in the report, I have said that after 5 minutes, I tried to establish communication so that I should give him another update of the weather. So that's where it was not given to him, because I didn't establish the communication. The time I was trying to do that was to tell him that now the weather has deteriorated, that I cannot even see the end of the runway. So that's what I meant at that particular time.
Thank you very much. You informed the authorities at 11:20Z.
So sorry, still on the issue of the weather. Does this mean that if you had told the pilot that visibility was 8 kilometers, the pilot would have proceeded to land? Or should we say that the pilots retained, they were not able to proceed to land because you told them it was 5 kilometers visibility?
On that issue, it is on the discretion of the pilot. That is why in the report I have indicated that when I gave him the visibility of the airport, he decided to go to Ekwendeni. At the same point, that's where we lost the communication, because he said, I have to go to Ekwendeni. In short, for the sake of the house, in Mzuzu, when the weather is very much bad, pilots opt to go to Ekwendeni because it's normally the weather is okay in Ekwendeni. And then it's like, because we don't have the navigational aids, if they can have a ground contact, they see the main road and they go by the treetop following the road, and then they come on the base for the runway 17, and then they will tell you we have got the runway in sight, and they can land.
I'm with you. Yeah. So if you had told them that the weather, the visibility according to the weather report was 8 kilometers, was the pilot going to be able to land under visibility of 8 kilometers?
Under the visibility of 8 kilometers, landing is possible.
Thank you. I just wanted to establish that. Mwanza, you still had the floor? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Have a follow-up on the weather? Okay, so Mayani, yeah.
Thank you very much, Chair, for allowing the people of Dedza Mayani to ask a question. My name is Avero Kafafa. Mr. Moyo, I just wanted to understand the the weather that you were giving to the pilots, the weather condition, the visibility, did I get you clearly that you said it was your opinion? I just want you to confirm.
Honorable Member for Dezamayani, can you be clear with your question? Otherwise, I'm not getting it.
I just wanted you to confirm that the 5 kilometer visibility was your opinion and not based on the weather, the Met expert. I just wanted to make sure that you should put it clear.
Thanks, Honorable Member. I think I also said that the official weather report is what we get from the meteorological report, which you have a copy with you. But when things, you can see that this is not going well, that's when you consider telling the pilot, according to my observation, at this particular time, because you have to first of all explain to say, my observation at this particular time. The pilot knows that now it is the observation. The weather he got was this one, but now the current situation is this one. I hope it answers yours.
Chair, I just wanted to make sure that according to your protocols or your standards as operating an airdrome, which report is the pilot supposed to use? I just wanted, or did you put a disclaimer to the pilot that this is my observation, not what I have on my table from the Met experts?
Thanks, Honorable Member. I think you have to understand that I said the official is from the meteorological department, of which the copy you have on your table. And when I will repeat, when I say my observation, the pilot knows that this, what he's telling me now, is not from the meteorological office. And most of the times when you do that, the pilot most of the times he becomes happy because he knows this time I'm getting the real thing which is happening at the aerodrome. Remember, the meteorological report that we get from the Met office, we also know, we go through the training of this report. So it is there as well to say, when you see that something is not going well, you can report. On the same ground, the meteorological report office can also issue what we call a space weather meteorological report, which means it can come not as usual per hour at any time when there is a change of weather. But before that, if that space is not in your office, that's why you specify to tell the pilot my observation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I know the observation tower for the air traffic control is high up there. Your house is always, their office is always very high up there. I know there might be some specific reasons why your office is placed there, whether it's all about the visibility or what, I don't know. But I just wanted you to make it very clear to this committee who is responsible and accountable for weather reports. If things go wrong on the weather issues, wrong reporting, whom should we ask? Should we ask the air traffic controller or the Met expert? But in considering that, I also want you to highlight to this committee, on the other hand, why is it that your your office is always the tallest when we come to any airport. And is it part of your training also to say you can advise on the weather? Maybe put is very clear. Otherwise, I want to know if it is an acceptable practice to give your opinion when it comes to weather. That's what I wanted to hear, Chair. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Honorable Member Ditsamayani. Let me start to say that the responsible person about the weather at the airport is the meteorological office, because they are the ones which gives the data to the air traffic control, and they are signed for it, and the air traffic control again has to go through and sign again on it to say this is the correct thing. And then when it comes to within the hour, that's when you come in, because you are also trained about the weather. That's why even in normal circumstances, the pilot can ask you, what is your observation? Okay? He can even ask you, how do you look at Ekwendeni? So this time, this pilot is flying. You cannot go back to this meteorological office. And this answer I'm giving to you is going back to the second question. Okay, we have the tallest buildings at the airport, the tallest tower, of course. It is in line with the length of the runway, so that you should be able to see the end of each runway, or I should say the threshold of the runway, so that anything there, because if you are saying you are cleared to land, it means you are giving an official clearance to say, okay, the runway is clear. Anything happens, you are responsible. Suppose there is a stone, there is a dog. So you have to know everything on the runway, it is clear. So the authority to say clear to land. I'll go back to the Honorable Chair when he was saying about air traffic control and the like. There are some of the issues of which some of the instructions are not given or they are not taken into account when you are doing aerodrome information. So that's one of the key things. I hope I have answered your question.
Does that clearance also on your side, does that clearance also involves weather? I wanted to make it very clear on your observation on weather. The dogs, the what is happening on the runway, no one will ask anyone apart from you. But I just wanted you to confirm that apart from what the Met experts have given to you, does that really mean that you also must clear about the weather? And can you confirm that it is part of your duty to also report your observations about the weather? Can you confirm, is it a practice? Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Honorable Member. About the weather, that's the prime thing. When you are clearing an aircraft to land, you have to know what is your air pressure. And the air pressure, you get it from the meteorological office. The air temperature as well. So that's where on your report, if you go down there, where it is written QNH, down there it is QMU. And in brackets down there, there is air temperature. Always a pilot acknowledges these figures, because you have to know I am going to be on the threshold which is at pressure of this type. And I cannot say or practice to say, according to my observation, the QNH is this. I cannot do that. This is primarily Met office, because they are the ones who have got the equipment. the observation about the clouds and the like, because you can observe yourself in the control tower.
Okay, I just wanted us to buttress the point. So, under visibility of 5 kilometers, can you just confirm, was the aircraft able to land or not? Just to confirm.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. I have got a reservation to that, because that is at the discretion of the pilot in command.
Okay. You did allude at the beginning of the session that under 5 kilometers, 8 kilometers landing was going to be safe. 5 kilometers was not going to be safe. So you're now backtracking. But I just want to find out, indirectly, was this an instruction to the pilot not to land? When you told them your observation, were you indirectly telling them it's not safe here under 5 kilometer visibility? Is that the reason why they proceeded to go to Ikwendeni?
Honorable Chair, thanks very much. I think I should be very clear with you. I said 8 kilometers under visual flight rules is possible to land. And then, when I talked about the 5 kilometers, this time it is not written anywhere in the ICAO books that something can happen, but with the ICAO books, with 8 kilometers, an aircraft can land, whether fixed, wing, or a helicopter, they can land. But with 5 kilometers, it's not clear. Therefore, when I give the weather to say 5 kilometers, I don't directly tell the pilot to say you can land or you cannot land. Because when I am done with the weather report, anything is at the discretion of the pilot in command.
Appreciate it. Yeah, Zomba City, and then...
Sorry, I'm not done, Chair.
On the weather.
Ah.
Unless it's a different question, but I want us to exhaust the weather, because it was a turning point. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Mr. Moyo, I'm just coming in for the sake of the question on the floor, but I'll come back later for my own questions. You've mentioned ICAO documents. Can you refer us to an ICAO clause which allows you, as an air traffic officer, to provide weather information to the crew?
Thanks very much, Honorable Member. At the moment, I don't have that document, but at a preferred time, I can always provide with you, because I was not prepared with that one.
Okay, maybe for the sake of the subsequent questions, please refer to something that you can allude to, something that you can refer to for the sake of the subsequent questions. That's my request. So, Chair, there is also something that is in the BFU report on page 40, requirements for meteorological office or service. I wanted Mr. Moyo also to confirm on this one. Under 9.2.1, it says briefing and or consultation shall be provided on request. I'm emphasizing on request to the flight crew members and or other flight operations personnel. Its purpose shall be to supply the latest available information on existing and expected meteorological conditions along the route to be flown at the aerodrome intended landing, alternate aerodromes, and other aerodromes as relevant. This is ICAO Annex 3 under 9.2.1. So I wanted you to emphasize on request, meaning the crew have to request Met experts for this information. So I wanted to also find out from you if you volunteered this information after being requested, or you just decided to give them the information before they had requested you. I submit, Chair.
Mr. Moya?
Thanks very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. I think what you have to understand here is that we don't volunteer to do this. It is a must that we should give the weather report to any aircraft. So, there are times where pilots can ask you about the weather. As a person working in the control tower, you can give him what the meteorological office has given you. But then you have also to give the conditions of that particular time he is calling you. Because for the other hours or thereafter, it is the duty of the meteorological office. So, the weather en route we are talking about, or if we talk about what is written in the Annex 3 of the meteorological, en route, there are some bulletins which are done by the meteorological office. Let's say you are flying from here, let's say to Addis Ababa, you have to know the weather, how it is in the neighboring FIRs, like Dar es Salaam or Kapenguria or Nairobi. So it's something to do with that one, but it's not voluntarily. Thanks.
Okay. On the same, is there on weather? Because otherwise we're not going back to weather. We should be asking other questions. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I have a number of questions, and some will touch to weather.
So
I wanted to find out the direction from you.
The one who has the floor is Mwanza.
Yes.
Mwanza Central.
Yes, Sir, Chair. But I wanted to ask your directions, because you're saying we're not to touch again on weather.
Okay.
Should we all come now, or we should allow at our time to ask whatever we have? Of course, it might be to do with weather,
Yeah,
but
true.
it's going to other questions as well.
Yeah, fair comment. So we can open it.
Okay, fine.
Okay, but I just want to release Mwanza Central, so we can move to the next.
Thank you,
So
Chair.
can I release Mwanza Central? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much, Chair. So, Mr. Moyo, in your statement, you called, you tried to check, you called again the pilot. But in your submission, you're saying the reason for calling was to check position and attitude. But there was no response. You have not indicated that you wanted to give him another update, because I'm very much interested with the statements that you made. So maybe you just forgot to include that element.
Can you read that paragraph?
Okay.
It's not there. I hope it is there.
No, let me read for you. It starts with AF88M contacted me at 0812Z and said there are 20 NM approaching the field from the north. I gave them QFY and runway in the use, which was the RWY 17. I also gave them my observation that east, south, and west of the field visibility is 5 kilometers. And he immediately said, heading Ikwendeni area to see if it is clear. After 5 minutes, I tried to check position and attitude. but there was no response. After another 5 minutes, I tried to call, but no response. I therefore kept trying to establish communication, but no avail. Because the issue of you not seeing the end of the runway is a big issue. Because the weather that time has deteriorated, and there is no way a plane can land when you, because that means that visibility now was below 1.3 kilometers. So your statement is not saying anything about that. Maybe you just forgot to include it. That's what I want to ask you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I think, to me, it is included. But maybe because this is almost like technical, you are not picking maybe what I was trying to say. If you look at what I said about south, east, south, and west of the field, all right? This means that this aircraft, I wanted to advise him that this time the weather has deteriorated. It's no longer at the 8 kilometers that I gave you from the Weather Meteorological Office. So on that point, I think you have to be very clear. I think
no, that's okay, Chair. On that one, we had the Mrs. Yesterday, Chavunguma. Miss Chavunguma. She was the officer in charge, mate. And she said in between their reporting time, because they said, she said they report hourly. And if something happens or weather changes in between, and the weather is bad, they issue space. And you also mentioned it. Bearing in mind that visibility, in your case, in your observation, was below 1.3 kilometers, did the Met Department issue space that particular day?
okay. On that particular day, a space was not issued. And you could also check at the timings. I said this weather report was at 0800. Now I was in contact with the aircraft at 0812. The difference there was too short. So a space was not provided.
No, I understand. 12 minutes was short. But what I'm asking is, because there was low visibility, as low as less than 1.3 kilometers per your presentation. So my question is not about 12 past 10. My question is, did Met issue space on that particular day, whether at 10:30, at 10:45, at 10:20? Because Ms. Chavunguma here said, if weather changes and the conditions are bad, they issue space even if it's before the reporting time. That's what she said yesterday. So my question is, did they issue space? And you've responded, they didn't. Where I'm driving at is, was there kind of misreporting from Met? Because when they reported here, she gave us time. She said she gave us weather conditions from 400 GMT up to 800 GMT. But the time that you were reporting, their indication is that the weather had improved, because she said here that at 10 a.m. local time there was a slight improvement, so visibility was at 9 kilometers. Yeah, visibility was at 9 kilometers, and at 11 a.m. visibility went back to 8 kilometers. But you are saying at 10:15 visibility was 5 kilometers, and 5 minutes later, which is 20 past 10, visibility was less than 1.3 kilometers. So we are asking you, because this information is very important, and we need to establish facts. That's why we are asking too many questions on weather. So I think we've made the point. I can proceed, Chair.
Yeah, you may proceed now.
Yes. At 11:20 Z, I assume that's 20 past 12 local time. Is that correct? In your statement, you've said at 11:20, 20 past. That is 20 past 1 local time. You informed authorities to to activate search and rescue. Which authorities did you inform? Can you recall who exactly did you inform? The authorities that you communicated to.
I think I have written the names on that paragraph.
You are talking of the commanding officer of Moyale Barracks, the police north, and the airport police officer in charge, Mr. Simango. Is that, are they the only ones that you informed?
Not like that, Honorable.
Okay.
I have also indicated about the airport commandant, Kamuzu International Airport, and the air navigation manager, Mr. Chisepea. In fact, these are the people the two are the people whom I said they should activate the rescue coordination. Because rescue coordination center is at Kamuzu International Airport. So that's why I had to engage the two. The other crew you have mentioned about Moyale and in Commissioner North and the other one, I was informing them that something has happened. You have to go for a search and rescue mission from our side. I think I have differentiated the two.
No, thank you very much. I wanted you to mention the airport commandant, because we had the an engagement with the SPC, and at 2:30 the SPC, according to her report, she called the airport commandant at 2:30, and but you at 20 past 1 you asked the commandant to activate search and rescue. 20 past 1, but at 2:30 the SPC called the airport commandant, and at that time the rescue had not been activated. According to what we have here, there were still some arrangements. So I wanted just to be sure of the authorities that you called, so that in our subsequent engagements we can also use this information, to establish other facts. My final question, Chair, is Mr. Moyo, did you receive any phone calls from anybody in authority on 10th June regarding any other issue?
Okay, thanks, Honorable Member. I think
Any high-profile individuals.
just confirm, Honorable Member, to do with the aviation issues or what?
Any other issue? Did you receive any phone call from any high-profile person regarding any other issue? I just want you to know whether you got a call from any other high-profile person.
Okay.
Before the crash.
Okay, thanks, Honorable Member. I think the only phone call I had was only from the Brigadier General Kandura, who was in charge of the Malawi Air Wing. That's the only phone call from any other entity before anything happened, I should say so.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Lilongemude, and then I would come to Nkatabe North, all right, and take Cheonzonzi, all right, and then we will see the other sequence. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. Mr. Moyo, I have several questions, and it's unfortunate that we are only communicating in English because other Malawians would have benefited from Chichewa, but I understand your preference. So my first question is, how long have you worked at Mzuzu as air traffic information officer? How long have you worked? So I'll ask and then you respond so that we quickly.
All right, thanks, Honorable Member. I have been at Mzuzu Airport for 16 years.
Thank you so much. And I have read your responsibilities of Airdrome Flight Information Services Officer at the end of the presentation. The last D says one of the duties or responsibilities, informing aircrafts of essential airdrome information and other relevant information. So I wanted to ask you, is the other relevant information prescribed in any document, say ICAO or any other document within air traffic rules? Is other relevant information prescribed in those books?
Thanks, Honorable Member. It is prescribed.
Thank you very much. Do you have a copy of that so that we see? Can you finish us with the copy of that at the end so that we see these other relevant informations, that the information that is actually prescribed?
Okay, fine. As I have already read it too, I don't have the books where to refer you to. But primarily, what you can understand when they say other relevant information, this other relevant information normally is to do like with the operators. Sometimes you can have an operator, the aircraft is flying, he can tell you, can you do this? Can you advise our pilot to do this? Or to do this? That's the other information. The other relevant information, which is essential, is again, the pilot, maybe they can have some other problems, or you have got a problem with another aircraft. So you can inform another pilot to say, can you assist this one? That's the relevance they are talking about.
Okay, thank you very much. So would you describe giving your observation on whether at the airdrome other relevant information?
Correct, Honorable Chair. Sorry, Honorable Member. the other relevant information about the weather, it is to do with your own observation.
Yes, so my question is, giving that observation to a pilot, would we describe that as other relevant information that you are supposed to give to pilots?
That's correct.
Thank you very much. My second question is on what you have written. You have written, first paragraph towards the end, you have written, due to weather conditions at that time, and with the previous experience I had in mind, that they should be flying along the lake. I know you approached the conversation as speaking to your notes, but later on we said you read, and then at the end of the presentation we ask questions. So my question is, due to weather conditions at that time, what do you mean by this statement? What were the weather conditions at that time?
Thanks, Honorable Member. As you can see, I have started by saying at 0750, I tried to communicate with the aircraft, and there was no communication. So, I referred myself to the air traffic controller in Irongwe to check the possibilities of maybe an error of copying the exact time of landing in Mzuzu. So when he confirmed to me that this is the right time that I have given you, that I was given. So when time passed, the estimated time of arrival of 0802, I started thinking, these guys maybe they are flying along the lake, they are flying very low, I am unable to get them on the radio. So that's what I meant on that point.
All right. You have said due to weather conditions at that time, then you thought they are flying along the lake and they are flying very low. What made you think they are flying very low and at the lake?
Okay. It was all to do about the weather. They had to fly along the lake. What I was thinking, that is, flying along the lake because of the weather conditions.
Yes, so Mr. Moy, my question was, what do you mean by the weather conditions? What were the weather conditions at that time? I wanted you just to describe to me the weather conditions at that time so that it qualifies to actually your opinion of flying low and at the lake.
Thanks, Honorable Member. I think if you can look at your weather report at the 0800, we are saying there was fog in the vicinity. And we had a lowest cloud at 600 feet and a broken layer of another cloud at 1,500. And then it was overcast at 7,000. So when you look at this weather report, the ones who are used to fly to Mzuzu and they know what to do if they can be able to land, they normally go to the lake, or they fly, they go to Ekwendeni. Or it can be the opposite. You go to along the lake. If something is still not okay with you, you go back to Ekwendeni, because Ekwendeni is like our landing system in Mzuzu. Because if you are there, the moment you see the ground, you see the M1 road, you are done. You will be able to land. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. My next question is on the flight plan. You received a flight plan from Lilongwe to Mzuzu on the day, and you have referred to flying along the lake. Now, as Airdrome Information Officer, is it a standard procedure that when you have a flight plan, then you can actually, because of the weather, you can actually go to the lake and fly at the lake. Is it a standard procedure? Is it recommended that when the weather is not good along Chikangawa, then you fly at the lake? Is it a standard procedure that we should take as a committee?
Thanks, Honorable Member. It's not a standard procedure. But for the safety of your aircraft and the occupants, you have to do that because Mzuzu doesn't have the navigational aids. For you to maintain the routing to Mzuzu, which you are not supposed to divert. Thanks, sir.
My, probably my last question is, when you gave the observation that the visibility is at 5 kilometers, the statement says, and immediately he said, heading Ikwendeni to see if it is clear. What was your understanding of this? Why do you think he was heading to Ikwendeni?
Thanks, Honorable Member. To me, that was very clear. It means the moment I gave him the weather, he knew that I cannot fly directly to the airport to see the field. I will be unable. Therefore, the best thing I can do is I have to go to Ekwendeni. If I establish ground contact from there, I will come to the base of the runway and then land in Mzuzu.
Thank you. My last question. Yesterday, I asked Ms. Chavunguma about Mzuzu, whether Mzuzu was an airport or an airdrome in 2024. Now you are airdrome air traffic information officer. I want a confirmation from you. Was Mzuzu in 2024 an airdrome or an airport? Because it will also help us to do a good analysis. Airdrome has its own equipment, less than that is at the airport. So I want a confirmation here whether Mzuzu in 2024 June, at the time of this unfortunate incident, was an airport or an airdrome.
Thanks, Honorable Member, for the interesting question. Okay, an aerodrome or an airport, they only differ with a definition. So, even Kamuzu or Bakiri, they are aerodromes. So it is the same. What matters is, at that particular time, what are you referring to? Is it to do with the equipment or to do with what? So, that one, the two exist.
Okay. Very interesting. I wouldn't ask a follow-up question, but you said you are not air traffic controller, you are airdrome air traffic information officer. Can you operate at Kia as airdrome air traffic information officer?
At Kia, I can operate as a flight information officer to do with all traffic outside the control zone. But because Mzuzu, I should include Karonga, that's why we are able to do everything on our own.
Chair, thank you very much. You know, you said they are the same, it's just the definition. That's why I was asking that question. Anyway, I have my response, Chair. Thank you very much.
Katabe North and
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Moyo Watandalauli, kama muliuli wakulu. Yeah, I've got one question or two follow-up questions, but just wanted you to make some clarification or your understanding. First question is, can you, according to your paragraph 2 here, you say AF88 contacted me. Who started contacting one another? You contacting the pilot or pilot contacting you? That's my first question.
Thanks very much, Honorable Member. It was the pilot who contacted me.
Okay, so when they are contacting you, what did they say? Where, which position were they when the time was contacting you?
Thanks, Honorable Member. I think it is indicated in the report. On the initial contact, when he said Mzuzu Tower, this is Alpha Foxtrot 88 Mike, we are 20 nautical miles north of Mzuzu, inbound to yours. So that's what was done according to the communication.
So we are laymen. People out there don't understand the nautical miles. Can you maybe clarify which location? Had they passed Mzuzu already, or they were before Mzuzu? Just to clarify for people that don't really understand the geography and nautical miles.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. When they were telling me 20 nautical miles, it means they were almost 38 kilometers. I think that will explain. 38 kilometers from the north, which means it was around Bwengu or somewhere there, far north. Yeah, I think that's what I can respond.
Okay, I think that was another question which Honorable Chair has imposed on you. Just wanted to know is where. So, on that, I wanted, have you seen the BFU report? And then verify the routes of the plane? Have you ever come close to the BFU report and see the route of the plane?
No, thank you. I have gone through the report and I have seen the routing of the aircraft and the irregular operation of the aircraft. I have seen all that. Thanks.
Yeah, so what will you say, your suggestion? Are these people, they are talking the truth that they are on north? Why the plane hasn't reached at north?
I cannot, on their behalf, to say they were telling me the truth or lies. But what I believe in, whatever the pilot tells you, according to the rules, they have to give you the correct information. So I believed in it because we do convectional communication. Otherwise, if they were maybe along Camus International, they could be on the radar, and you can easily say you are not to the north of the field. But at this point in time, I cannot tell. Thank you.
So, Chair, okay, because he said he has seen it, I just wanted him to see how the route was and confirm that what has been written here, the airplane hasn't reached at Ikwendeni, even at Mzuzu. So that was maybe I just wanted clarification from there. Lastly, I think my colleague has asked already about the runway. I think I need to just clarify in clarification from you. You say that the runway is 1.3 kilometer, and you couldn't see at 5 kilometer, right? And then on your imagination, you thought that maybe they couldn't land because of the weather. Would you please explain here? You couldn't see 1 point something, and the fog was about 5 kilometers.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Member. I'll start with the last statement. I couldn't tell that they could not land because that's not my responsibility. I have to provide information only. And secondly, when we are talking about the 1.3 kilometers of the runway, it's not always that the aircrafts use the whole 1.3 kilometers. And when I was talking about the 5 kilometers, remember, 5 kilometers is greater than 1.3. But then, when things go bad, if you are in the control tower, you cannot see the end of your runway. You only inform, I cannot see the end of the runway. So, practically, that's how it goes. But you have also to keep in mind that the discretion to land or take off is in the hands of the pilot in command. Thank you.
Chair, thank you.
Mr. Moyo, the 20 nautical miles is another turning point on this trip. And I just wanted us also maybe to clarify a few issues with you from your understanding. Were you surprised at that stage that the pilot had indicated that there were 20 nautical miles north?
Thank you, Honorable Chabe. I was not surprised. My understanding was as long as they passed the time to land, and then with the weather conditions at that particular time. That's why in the report I said, in my mind, I thought these guys maybe they are flying along the lake. So if they are flying along the lake, it means they will come from the north. Because if they pass through Mzuzu, and then he tells me I am 20 nautical miles from the north, inbound to yours, I was not surprised. I said, yeah, that's it. These people were along the lake. Thank you.
From your experience, I understand. From your experience all along, communication with pilots around the 20 nautical miles, how was communication? Was it difficult?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The communication with pilots depends on the flying altitude of the aircraft. At 20 nautical miles, if you are flying, maybe you are at 5,000 feet. It is difficult. You can only be in touch, maybe you are 8 or 10 kilometers. So, at this point in time, I could imagine that when he was coming in, when I was talking to my colleague in a long way to say he's now around at 7,000 feet, I knew I cannot be in touch at this altitude.
Okay, no, thank you for that. Jay Unzonzivai, and then there's Mayani, and then we go to Desakasina.
Thank you so much, Chair, for granting us, the people of Ncheudzo's Mvai constituency, to ask you some questions. Mr. Moyo, I have 2 questions I wish to understand from you. We understand that under international framework, A missing aircraft is meant to move through 3 stages. 1. Uncertainty stage phase, an alert phase, and a district phase, each with a different trigger and a different required action. Can you tell this committee, in your words, when each of these 3 stages was reached on the 10th June 2024, and what specific action was taken to each? The second question is, were you personally trained or required to follow these 3 phases framework as part of your law? Is it formally adopted? Is it formally adopted in Malawi's civil aviation procedures or handled differently in practice? Thank you.
Thanks very much, Honorable Member. Okay, on the last one, every person who is working in the air traffic services knows the search and rescue alerting phases and is trained. To follow up on the stages of the search and rescue, of which you have mentioned about the uncertainty, the alert phase, and the distress phase, all these phases on that particular day were followed. Because when you are following out about these phases, you can start with uncertainty, you can go to alert phase, you can also go back from alert phase or from the distress phase back to uncertainty. But this one, it was a different one. And you have to take in mind these phases which we are talking about. There are some of the things whereby an aircraft is in contact, direct in contact with the controller or the flight information officer, and he knows what is happening. A, B, C, D. You can do the arrangements to say, okay, this guy is telling me, I am now at Mayday, I am landing at the Parliament building. You dispatch the people to go and search at this particular place. But this one was a missing aircraft on that day, whereby you cannot know where it is, you cannot know where it has crashed, so it was difficult. The only determining factor was to see, has the fuel on board the aircraft finished or not, depending on the hours the crew gave you. That's why the other honorable member talked about of the 11:20 or the like. So at that particular time, that's when you determine something can be done. But otherwise, we are in uncertainty. We are in a late phase after 1 hour. That's where you start an alert phase. What is happening? Then you have to wait for the distress. The distress, when you see fuel has been exhausted in the aircraft, now you come to the distress phase. Thanks, Madam Honorable.
Thank you so much, Chair.
There's a man.
Thank you very much, Chair, once again for allowing the people of Mayani to ask some questions to Mr. Moyo. Mr. Moyo, I just wanted you to make it clear to this committee, when you are there at Nzuzu, how do you communicate with Lilongwe as official air traffic control? I just wanted to understand how the communication between you, Lilongwe, and possibly the airplanes, the way you communicate, the official routes, the official means. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Means of communication at the moment between Mzuzu and Kamuzu, or with all manned airports, that's including Bakiri and Karonga. It is by phone. Or on the phone, I mean you can do it on the WhatsApp, calling, or email.
I want you to be more specific. I want to understand the official communication in terms of, especially things to do with an airplane coming. Not necessarily to say, what about our salaries or what? No. But I want to be more specific about when the airplane is coming and that you are there as a air traffic information officer or controller. I want you to be more specific. What did you normally use? Of course, you have talked about the email, but I don't think that time you use emails when you are communicating on. I want to be more specific.
Thank you, Honorable Member. About the traffic, it is what I said earlier on. On the email, on WhatsApp, you can get the flight plan, because before the aircraft departs, you are supposed to receive a flight plan. So you can get it on the email, on the WhatsApp. So normally, this is what we are doing, but it is not a correct procedure, because you can easily lose your phone, or anything happens with your phone, the data will be off. Secondly, maybe what you want to know is, whenever we have done that one, the moment an aircraft departs, the two stations, you also give a call, you give you estimates at this position, this aircraft will report at this time. It will be at your field at this time. So on the route itself, we have got positions where we determine at this point, this aircraft has now to contact Mzuzu or has to contact Kamuzu. So that's what the normal practice that we do.
Chair, I'm asking those questions because I want to know what is, in my initial question, the first question I asked the official, what is supposed to be in the official. And you have clearly indicated that you are afraid that a message which has been sent on WhatsApp might easily be lost, and the follow-up might be a problem. Because I wanted to know, let's say, what do you, when you are talking to the airplane, let me be very specific. On this particular day, when you received the message as 10:05, what instrument were you using?
Okay, between the two controllers, we are using the phone.
So from a controller in Lilongwe to a controller in Mzuzu, you were exchanging your messages on phone. Would you please specify, was it on WhatsApp or just a normal phone call?
Normal phone call.
Was it a personal phone or official phone?
I use my personal phone.
Do we have, does your phone actually record some messages so that we can be able to verify what you are telling the committee, or it's something that is not recorded?
Actually, to be fair enough with you, it was not recorded, and I don't record. because it's up to you to choose. Should I record this message or not?
In your own opinion, do you think that's the standard practice, or do you think that's the best practice, or it's done out of desperation?
To be fair enough with your question, this is due to lack of equipment.
In your experience, what equipment was supposed to be there which you think is not there?
We are supposed to be using the link between all the airports which are manned on the computers where to send the messages. But the link is not working. In the past, we are used to the AFTN, which was aeronautical fixed telecommunication network. But this time it is phased out. But it was more convenient than this of the computers. It's giving us problems. I think now it's over 4 years we are not using it.
So you had equipment which could keep that information officially, but now for 4 years that equipment is no longer working and you are no longer using it. That's what you can confirm to the committee?
Correct, we are not using it. And we cannot record any data so far.
I just wanted to understand if in the same vein of these communication challenges, are we having a possibility of verifying the communication between you and the pilot on this specific day?
Honorable Member, thank you. As I have already said, we don't have any equipment to record what was happening on that particular day. So the only information we have is the flight plan or flight progress strips where we are recording what we are conversating to say this time you are at this position, this time I have talked with you, this time you have told me I have got so many people on board or the fuel on board. I think that one I didn't give to the, I don't know whether maybe Honorable Chair, if you can hear, but it's too technical. I can give you the flight progress strip of that particular day.
And no, I don't have a problem with the all written information that is exchanged. That's okay because that's reproducible. You mentioned about the visibility of 5 kilometers in your submission. According to your experience, what is the minimum acceptable visibility for a VFR landing?
It's 8 kilometers.
So you admitted that because you are not the air traffic controller, so you cannot necessarily command the flight to go back, but you just provide the information, thinking that the pilot will make a decision on his own. So you thought in your thinking, you thought by mentioning 5 kilometers, the pilot would make a conclusion that he may not be able to land at Mzuzu. Did I capture you correctly?
Thanks, Honorable Member. Yes or no? The thing is, even if you are an air traffic controller positive to give instructions, you cannot instruct an aircraft to say go back because the weather is not good. What you do is give him the weather information. It is up to him to decide. I should continue or not.
You mentioned about the range of your communication at 20 nautical miles. And in your opinion, that message came by radio and you gave us the frequencies that you were using according to your report. But when you were talking to Lilongwe, you were using your phone. Why is it that when you are talking to Lilongwe, you abandoned the radio? Why is it that way?
Okay, thanks, Honorable Member. I think, well, I will take the question. The thing is, the frequencies we use is the communication between the pilot and the controller. The frequencies that we have, which are indicated in those minutes, they are from Zuzu only, and the other one is for Camus only. So, we had in the past.
I want you to differentiate between the time that these instruments were in use and the time that they are no longer in use. Just an estimated time since they went out of use.
I can see more than 10 years ago.
Thank you. My final questions, Chair. I just wanted to understand from you, what's the range of your radio communication from Zuzu to an incoming airplane, maybe from Lilongwe or anywhere? What's the range? What's the distance that radio works when you are talking to the airplanes?
Thanks, Honorable Member. Our radio range, it depends with the altitude of the aircraft that is flying. The lowest can be 20 nautical miles when somebody is 7,000 or below under normal weather conditions. But then there are some other aircrafts, they can contact you when they are 70 nautical miles away because they are very high. So it depends on the altitude they are flying.
So we were told that this airplane from Lilongwe, it was told to fly at 9,000 feet. But then it was discovered that it was flying at 8,000 feet. In your estimation, what was the closest distance that you could talk or you could pick their messages using the radio, given that scenario that has been presented in the reports?
Thank you, Honorable Member. I think the report speaks itself. If the pilot was able to contact me at 20 nautical miles from the north, then that was the perfect distance. Thank you.
So before I submit my final question, I just wanted you to confirm to say there are no recording equipment of all the messages which are transferred through radio as we are speaking.
Correct.
I just wanted to learn from you that Nzuzu has been classified as a VFR aerodrome, according to the previous reports that we have received. Was this the practice, or that in the past there was some abilities of instrument landing where there were some equipment? And if there were equipment, up to when and what happened to the equipment? We just want to learn from that. At that point, Chair, I really appreciate for his time, and that's the end of my submission. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Honorable Member. This time Zuzu is a VFR approach airport because, as we have already said, we don't have the instruments, or I should say the navigational instruments. In the past, we had the VOR. Maybe for the sake of the practice, the VOR is the visual correction, is the visual omnidirectional range, which was there, very operational. It's no longer there. I didn't find it. It was vandalized because as a very high omnidirectional range, it picks the signals from the cockpit of the aircraft and it directs the aircraft to the position of the airport. So, with the aid of the instrument landing system, the pilot just follow those Morse codes in the cockpit until he goes to the runway.
Chair, sorry. So maybe I didn't want to come back, but if that was still in use, that could have helped in bad weather, or is that what you want to confirm to this committee? Is that equipment sometimes helps in bad weather? Just your opinion. Thank you.
Thanks, Honorable Member. As you have put it, to my opinion, those equipments assist.
Mr. Moyo, I just want to follow up on the question that was made by Dedze Mayani on the radio contact. You said it depends on the altitude. Is that correct? And if you're flying above 9,000, it will be very difficult. Yeah. So why was it not possible to make contact with the plane in Chikangawa when it was flying very low? But you keep saying that you tried to make contact several times. Because the BFE report shows that it was flying 2,000, it would go to 3,000, up to 7, and come down. At that stage, why were you failing to make radio contact?
Honorable Chair, I think that is beyond to my understanding because I couldn't know what was happening with the aircraft.
But your radio was working, and you were making every effort.
Yeah, my radio was working. That is why you can also recall when he was telling me about the 20 nautical miles, we were communicating, we could hear each other very clear.
No, because what is strange is that there was no contact until 10, is it 10:12? 10:12, and then we're told it's 20 nautical miles. Thereafter, no contact. 4 minutes later, crash. It's something that is all boggling our minds. But hopefully through this representation, we'll be able to understand some facts and why we couldn't make contact. We appreciate that we were not well equipped with the phones, but the radio, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Just a follow-up. You have indicated that you made contact with the plane when it was 20 nautical miles north. Is that it?
Correct.
And you said this must be around Bwengu?
Yeah, according to the mouse, it was something like that.
At what point in time did you make this contact? At what time did you make the contact?
Honorable Member, I think it is indicated in the report. It was something at 0812. 10:12 local time.
And we are told that the plane came down at 10:16 in Chikangawa.
Yeah, that's correct. And even the Honorable Chair just mentioned here, there was a difference of 4 minutes.
So what would be your explanation? Because Bwengu, as we know it, is to the north of Nzuzu, and Chikangawa is to the south of Nzuzu, and the distance could not be covered in 4 minutes.
That's a good question or observation. It is beyond my control. Because when I looked at the BFU report, I also got confused. Because I got it clearly on the radio that he was 20 nautical miles from the north. And when I looked at those irregular maneuvers of the aircraft, so I said, I don't know what was happening. So, because...
Could it be that you did not understand the pilot? Maybe he said he was 20 nautical miles south and not north.
Honorable Member, I am well trained on that one, and even at whatsoever level of communication that I cannot understand, that one cannot happen. Because whatever the pilot tells me or I tell him, you have to acknowledge to say you have received the correct information. And this information as well was recorded in the other logbook from our fire watch. We have got the fire station as well at the office. So the one who was on duty also recorded that this aircraft is telling the controller that is 20 nautical miles from the north. So this other office I'm talking about, they don't speak to the aircraft, but they just monitor. If there is something happening, they have to know, oh, this aircraft is transmitting that I am in danger or I am in this incident. They have to prepare.
If you looked at the BFU report, the route that was recorded by the BFU report, does it show that this plane reached somewhere around Bwengu?
Honorable Member, I think you already asked me that question, that even myself I was confused. Because if he's telling me about the 20 nautical miles north inbound to Mzuzu, and then you look at the BFU report, that this aircraft was south of Mzuzu. So I think I cannot comment much on that one, because I don't know what was happening.
Chair, I think he has not answered my question. My question is whether the map, the route that was recorded by BFU in its report shows that this plane reached somewhere around Bwengu.
Sorry, Honorable Member, can you say again? The BFU report showed that the aircraft reached somewhere in Bwengu?
That's what I am trying to find out from you. Does that route that is recorded in that report shows that this plane reached somewhere around 20 nautical miles north of Nzuzu? That's what I want to find out from you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I think, Honorable Chair, I think I have answered this question.
In your opinion, do you think the pilot misled you?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The answer can be yes or no. Because I believed he told me the truth. When I looked at the BFU, I saw it was not.
Okay. Next one. Let's take a... Oh, on the same? Yeah.
No, Chair, on the same, just to also support Wagasangazi. You are very well trained, and I think this committee recognizes that. 16 years at Nzuzu is a long time. Kenel Sambalopa was also very experienced. That's why the issue of trying to understand, was this really Kenel Sambalopa who come in? Because we can see you, Mr. Muyu, are there. We believe that you understood what Kenel Sambalopa told you. We also know the experience of Kenel Sambalopa. Now we're asking, was it really Kenel Sambalopa? Did you recognize the voice as that of Kenel Sambalopa? As you're considering to answer that, Chair did ask about altitude when he was following up on the question by the Zamayani on the radio. I think the communication at 10 past or 12 past 10 was made at an altitude of 6,000 feet. And maybe radio communication at this point might be difficult because it's below 7,000, below 9,000. So we're also asking ourselves questions. How was this radio communication made? Because it was very much below the 9,000, even below the 7,000 that you mentioned earlier. These are lingering questions that we thought you could also assist us with.
Okay, thanks very much, Honorable Member. I think I am used with most of the pilots based in Malawi with their voices. So I couldn't miss the voice of Kenel Sambalopa. Frankly speaking, it was him. About the altitude, you are telling me of the 6,000 feet, of which I'm not aware. Because on initial request from Kamuzu, he was at 9,000 feet. And then later, he descended to maintain 7,000 feet. And I was told about that one. For the distance of 20 nautical miles, to me, I was still feeling he's at 7,000 feet. All the same, at 6,000 feet, he can pick you. As long as when you are coming from the north, you are around the Bwengu, there is no terrain, there are no mountains, you just come in like in a straight in approach. So I didn't have issues with that one. Thank you.
Now, in hindsight, because Dwagasangazi has clarified that the plane never reached Bwengu. Now in hindsight, after I've read the BFU report, it never went to Bwengu. So the 6,000 feet is in Chikangawa. So when you know the terrain in Chikangawa, the altitude in there, are you not also surprised that the radio communication worked at that altitude? It's no longer Bwengu. We know the truth, it never went to Bwengu. According to the report from the BFU, Are you also not surprised on that one?
All right. On the BFU, really it shows somewhere of 6,000, but you could see it was like up and down and up and down. So, you know as well, when we talk about Chikangawa, because of the terrain, maybe it was difficult for them to contact me. And the contact here, which I'm most interested in, or I could have been interested at that particular time, would be to tell me what is their problem. Because if they tell me the problem, they give me the position, it's easier to do the search and rescue because you know where they are. Thank you.
Chair, because I was just following up. So you cannot miss the voice of late Ken Sambalova, as you have said. Now, after reading the BFU report, the distress that we are under, tukangata mazungulira sort of, did he sound like he was under distress? And did he also maybe request for anything, any kind of information from you? Because this was 4 minutes before the impact. The distress call, some of us are surprised. After wandering in that Chikangawa for some time, those circles that we have seen, they make contact at 12 past 10, and they just tell you we are 20 nautical miles north. Now in hindsight, were you also not surprised that the distress call never came? And you have also just said that maybe you're also expecting that we ask for some information, for some help. Can you just confirm that you're also surprised that this distress call never came at 12 minutes past 10?
Okay, thank you. I was also surprised because you look at the time, the 12 minutes after the hour, the BFU tells us 4 minutes later at 16 past. I said, no. On the initial call, the voice was okay. He didn't mention of anything. And now, when this thing happens later on, looking at the side of the initial communication that he was telling me of his position and where the incident happened. Okay, this time let us not call it an incident. The accident happened. So, sure, I'm equally surprised what actually happened.
We have Dezagasina, and then we'll go to Zambatondwe. You may want to use your board of water because I think it's going to be a long session. So I'm just warning you.
Thank you so much, Chair. Good afternoon, Mr. Moyo. My name is Joshua Balango, a member of Parliament from Dezagasina. I know Chair asked you your preference in terms of which language. You had clearly said English. My understanding is that you are not fluent in Chichewa, is it?
Correct.
Where are you coming from in Malawi? Just because I've told you I'm from Dedza.
Thanks very much, Honorable Malango. Okay.
I understand about the language. I just want to know where you come from so that I know.
Okay, fine. I come from Nkamenya, Kasungu North.
Okay.
Yeah, T.A. Karuruma.
All right, thank you. Once again, welcome, Mr. Moyo. I'll start with your presentation before I go to BFU. Chair, I'll refer BFU and I also refer to the report on the inquiry. But I wanted to take through to his presentation first. You have given us the you have given us the report for weather report for on the 10th. Is it? I've seen it. I wanted first to confirm your position as of 10th June 2024 in Zuzu. What was your position?
You mean office position or what?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Aerodrome, air traffic control officer, and then the officer in charge of the Mzuzu Airport.
Thank you so much. So I'll take it that on 9th June 2024, you were also on duty.
That is correct.
What was the weather forecast for 9th June? You have that report or you don't have?
I had the weather report then, but currently with me now, I don't have.
All right.
But I recall it was almost the same like the one I've given you.
All right. I was seeing the one you have given us here. It's talking about -8. What does it mean in your understanding when it's -8? -8 kilometer, the visibility. The report you have shared with us. It's showing -8 kilometers. Are we together? Or you don't have this, but it has come from you.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was giving him the 8 kilometers.
Yeah, I'm saying it's showing in -8. I want you to explain the negative.
All right, that is not a negative. Technically, it's not a negative.
All right. You have said on this day in the morning, I quote you. It's not here on your presentation, but in your submission when you're speaking, you said a travel plan originated from my office when the crew was leaving Zuzu for Kia. Now, I don't understand when you said a travel plan originated from my office. Is it you who did it, or they filed in your office as the travel plan? Who filed if it's someone who filed the travel plan in your office on this day, this morning, who did that?
Okay, the flight plan is done by the pilots, and on that particular day, it was done by the first officer, Madam Selemani.
Now, on that day, when they are leaving, did you only spoke to Madam Selemani, late Selemani, when she was filing the travel plan?
No, I spoke to both. I first of all met the captain. Okay, I should say the Colonel Sambaroba was the pilot in command. And then I went in the office with the Major Selemani to do the flight planning.
What was your, because you said Zomba City South asked you if you had recognized the voice. You said your response said you were well conversant and with the Colonel Sambalopa, the late. Now, I'll take that in your interactions this morning when they're leaving Zuzu for Lilongwe. you were able to notice if there was any unusual distress or whatever from Keno Sambaloba. In your interactions, how was he in the morning?
To me, it was normal as usual. We chatted, we laughed, and we talked about the weather as well. I said, okay, we'll call you back when we are in Lilongwe. So it was in a normal mood.
All right. We'll go back to the issue of weather, where you have said you get hourly update. And this confirms what also the meteorological office we had yesterday, the hourly update. Now, I would want to understand how does this weather reports get to the pilot? Is it the traffic? You are the one who responsible to give the hard copies, or they do communicate directly with the station, the weather officer at the aerodrome?
Okay, thanks, Honorable. The weather report, if you can see on the paper you have, it says the weather report to the air traffic control. So that report comes to the tower, and it is the duty tower person to transmit that weather to the pilot.
All right. Now, that answers my question. But I want you to tell me when there's an update, hourly update, which they get. And now it means they observe for an hour if there's any change of weather, and they will transmit that to your office. Within that hour, before they give you the hour update, if there's any issue which you have observed or they have observed, how does it transmit to the flight in transit when you haven't get the updated one, but the weather has changed on their way? How does it transmit to the flight in transit? I had asked the similar question yesterday, and they said it's better responded by air traffic control.
Okay, when it is to do with the en route weather reports, as we have said, we get the weather report hourly for our airports. But suppose an aircraft is overflying our airspace, so the other airspace or our airspace responsible, they send messages across our neighboring countries or to other countries or to the member states of the ICAO, in short. So that's how we transmit that information. At the same time, when it is within, you get a space to tell the aircraft in a sudden change of weather. You did. And that one, you also have to rely on the meteorological office. But then there are times when it can take maybe 5 minutes or 4 minutes. That's why we come up with the SA controller's observation.
All right. Thank you. On your presentation, you were saying due to the weather condition at the time, with the previous experience, you had in mind that they should be flying along the lake. When you noticed that if they gave you the correct expected time of arrival, when you noted that they are not coming, now I'd want to understand, in the area plan which you had in the morning, Did you suggest or did you had any conversations on which route they are taking? Because here you're saying, due to your experience, you thought they should be flying along the lake. At any time, did you suggest that to the pilots from the morning or on their way coming?
All right, on the routing, I cannot suggest for them to say go to the lake or go to this area because there is already a designated route between Mzuzu and Lilongwe. But when some weather conditions are harsh, they can divert from that one. So you could literally notice when you are used to it that maybe this is happening because of this weather.
Let's go back to the 20 nautical miles. First, I think there was kind of, my colleague were asking when you contacted them or what, but I want you to, according to your presentations, it seems AF88M is the one who contacted you, is it? Not you contacting them.
It was them who first contacted me.
Now, during this kind of communication, you said then you lost communication. If I had got you right, so you said there was a loss of communication. This kind of loss of communication, was it after you have finished conversation when they contacted you, or amid this conversation when you are talking to them and the communication was lost? I want to understand that and on that aspect. At what point did communication got lost? When you were still talking to them, or after talking to them, telling them after talking to them, and then when you were trying to contact them, that's when communication was lost?
I lost communication after the initial communication with them.
All right. Thank you. How did you communicate again with them? The mode of communication? Was it, if I get what you said, talk of WhatsApp, you talk of a call? How did you communicate with them when they are contacting you?
Okay, when it comes to the flights, we talk on the VHF radio.
All right. So on that radio, according to BFU report, page 26, that communication which is on radio in Zuzu was not recorded, and I think the Zamine also asked that radio communications was not recorded. You said the reason was you don't have equipment. You have the equipment just to speak, but you can't record the radio communication which you had. Why was it not recorded, as the BFU said on page 26?
Thanks, Honorable Chair. In short, I've said, or I should answer directly your question. We don't have a voice recorder at the airport.
This voice recorder, just this normal recorder which you can buy, or it's inbuilt with the radio communication you have? It's a special one.
Yeah, this one is a special one.
Has it been there before that it broke down, or it has never been there? Does it come together with this radio communication equipment which you use to communicate?
Okay, it comes on its own when you buy it. It was there in the past, but it's no longer in use at the moment.
Why? Because we've heard of EOTs, say the battery were expired, 2004, whatever. I don't understand your radio recorder. It's no longer in use. It broke down, it got damaged, or it got stolen, or what?
It is not working. So, in simple terms, I think it is lacking some spare parts which cannot be found at the moment because these were long time equipments, so they are no longer there in stock.
Since when?
Because you have been there for 16 years. When did the lockdown?
Thanks a lot. I think the time I was going to Mzuzu from Kamuzu, it was already not working.
Since when? The chair is asking, since when? Can you remember which year? When did you go to Mzuzu?
The exact year, Chair, I cannot mention it here.
We'll do estimation. I'll help you. When did you go to Mzuzu? Because you're saying when you went to Mzuzu, it was not working. When did you go to Mzuzu?
2008. But before I went there, when I was at Kamuzu International Airport, it was not working. So it's like I came from Bakiri Mluzi to Kamuzu. I stayed here for, I think, 3.5 years. I stayed in Bakiri for 10 years. So all those years, it was not working. Thank you.
20. All right, so it's over 10 years. It's not working. You've been there from 2018, you say? 2018 or 2008?
2008.
So it's around 12 or 13 years thereabout. When you are there and you are the one in charge there, have you ever made any effort to remind your superiors, seniors, the importance of having this fixed?
Honorable member, for several times.
You can share the communication? If it wasn't, because I believe in government, that has to be recorded. Because when the MDF came here, Chair, they had at least brought in the memos which they wrote in 2004, 2016, 2006 rather. So can you share also what you wrote to remind them, your seniors, that you needed to fix this recorder?
Okay, thank you. With me here, I don't have.
No, not now. But if you go back, you can share this committee.
Yeah,
there.
I can check with the engineers because that is not under my custody actually. So the engineers are the ones who work on that one. So I can check with them and then I come back to you.
Maybe Chair will help and give guidance on that one. Let's proceed on that one, because if you had recorded that, at least you could have an evidence of that kind of conversation which you had with the Colonel Sambaloba, because from the look of things, you were the last person on this earth who spoke to Colonel Sambaloba before that fateful day. Now, let's go to 20 nautical miles. They have contacted you. They are saying they are 20 nautical miles away from landing. In your experience, which you have several times said, no, with my experience. Now I want us to apply your experience also on this one. 20 nautical miles, it means the flight is now descending, or is still maintaining the 1,000 feet which it was flying from destination, from the departure area. When one says in 20 nautical miles, are they now descending or they're still up in the sky?
Okay, thank you, Honorable Member. The thing is, when you are flying, you can be maintaining your height. You can decide to start descending depending with the distance you are to the airfield. And again, depending on the clouds. That is to do with the weather. So, you can come, you are descending. Maybe let us give a real view of what we're talking about. If you are at 9,000 feet, you are descending to 7,000 feet, you are coming over to Chikangawa and the like, you know I cannot go to 7,000 feet because of the clouds, you will be slightly up, or you descend to up to 5,000 feet or 5,500, depending. I having the visibility in front of me that I cannot hit the mountains or any other obstacle.
All right.
So it depends.
Now, in your experience, I want that Wakasangadzi gave an estimation of 20 nautical miles, saying it might be somewhere around Bwengu. I want you to give us your practical experience or practical estimation, because you have been in Zuzu, you've been there for over 10 years now. When you say 20, when they said we are 20 nautical miles away, in your understanding, where were they at that particular moment?
Honorable Member, I think that question I answered already.
Yeah,
because the pilot clearly said, I am 20 nautical miles north of Mzuzu. So, to your understanding, when you are in Mzuzu, when you say I'm 20 nautical miles to the north, it means you are going like to Rumbi.
Fine. I was asking that because when Wakasangadzi talked of Bwengu, it sounded like you were not comfortable with that. So let's take yours as that they were somewhere around in Zuzu, and they are they're going the Rumpi side. So in your understanding, this flight reached Zuzu.
Honorable Member, I think you are quoting me wrong. When I was answering the other member about the 20 nautical miles, I answered that the 20 nautical miles translates to almost 38 kilometers, which is around Bwengu area.
All right.
I think that is what I said.
Now, because one issue which is in contention is to understand, which this committee want to get, is if indeed this plane reached in Zuzu. So you are 38 kilometers or 20 nautical miles. You can confirm that it means it had reached in Zuzu, is it?
Reaching Mzuzu, it means the aircraft has landed.
The 38 kilometers away, it's where? It's in which district?
Okay, I'm taking it again. I have said Bwengu, and Bwengu is almost in Rumpi.
Almost in Rumpi. It means it hasn't reached Rumpi yet, but it's in a certain area, a certain district. I would want to understand, I want to agree on that one. Did it reach Zuzu in your understanding of 20 nautical miles? Or it was still in Kasungu? Or it was in Rumpi?
I think, Honorable Member, the question is becoming irrelevant, because what I'm saying here is the aircraft did not reach Mzuzu. Reaching Mzuzu, it means the aircraft has landed. And then I'm saying the 20 nautical miles is translating into almost 38 kilometers to the north. To me, it is almost like Pwezi or Bwengu area. Therefore, I don't know what actually you are trying to find out.
We're trying to find out if it reaches Zuzu or not. So that's why I'm asking you to transmit as 20 nautical miles.
Okay, simple. The aircraft did not reach Mzuzu. Reaching Mzuzu, I repeat, it would have landed. Or it would have crash landed at Mzuzu.
We'll get back to that point later, Chair. Why I was advancing that, but I want first to conclude on this one. Mwaza Center studied it. I didn't get some of the clear answers. I wanted us to confirm, to agree. When you had talked to the captain and told him that your visibility of a field is 5 kilometers, And I'll read what you have presented here. I also gave my observation that east, south, and the west of a field visibility is 5 kilometers. I'm only interested now on and he immediately said heading Ekwendeni area to see if it is clear. Let's agree. The captain was going, immediately said he's going to Ekwendeni side after your observation of 5 kilometers was made to him. Correct?
Yeah, correct.
So that confirms what Mwaza Sento and Chair had asked before, that if you didn't say about 5 kilometer visibility, the plan of this captain could have gone as planned how he was going to land, correct?
I cannot answer on behalf of the captain.
But immediately after your 5 kilometer visibility advice to him, that's when he changed to go to Ekwendeni, according to your presentation.
Right. On my presentation, I give a pilot the weather. Then he makes a decision. Immediately, I am going to Ekwendeni area.
We are together on that one. We agree. You and me, we are on the same page. He has made a decision based on the advice you have given. Meaning, if that advice is not there, the pilot couldn't have decided to go Ekwendeni side.
Okay, thank you. I think we dwelling much on the same thing, of which I know because of technical issues.
There's no technical.
There is an issue.
I'm the one holding the floor. Don't worry. Hold on. Chair,
no, I want to clear you.
Through you, Chair, I would want you to tell the witness, just to be specific and answer the questions, not to use the tactic he wants to use. Because in this statement which he has presented himself, there's nothing technical in it. The statement that we have read. So it's him to agree or to disown what he has written here. Nothing technical about it.
What question do you want answered now?
Sorry. As per his presentation, immediately after he had said his observation, that's when the pilot said he's heading towards Ekwendeni. Now, I want him to confirm that if he didn't give this advice, the captain could have said he was going to want to choose to go to Ekwendeni. Could have gone ahead with his route plan. There's nothing technical about it.
Honorable Chair, let me say it again here. When there is bad weather or a possible irregular movement of an aircraft, it doesn't matter whether you are going to Mzuzu or whatsoever. If anything happens, the pilot in command will make a decision on his own. It doesn't mean when I told him 5 kilometers, then he tells me I am going to Ekwendeni, but I have to record it because he has told me. I don't have a voice recorder, remember? So I have to record it. He could have proceeded coming to Mzuzu but not landing, or coming to land, or he could have just flown overhead. So this is a normal practice when you are doing aviation maneuvers. So there is nothing sinister to it. Thank you.
No one is saying there's anything sinister, Mr. Moyo. I was only reading what you have presented here, that immediately when you told him your observation of 5 kilometer visibility, he said he's going to use Ekwendeni. That we agree, correct?
Honorable
Okay.
Ndege, I think you have established your point that based on the advice, okay, the pilot made his decision. But he's saying that that decision is his own decision. Okay, that's pretty much what he's saying. So, but the pilots have to make informed decisions. And he was advised of the prevailing weather, and he made his decision. But he's not owning up to that decision. So I think you've made your point. Okay.
Yeah, you know, it's not owning up to the decision, but owning up to the observation and advice he gave. So that I agreed with you, Chair. Mwanza Sento had asked you if on that day you had received any call from senior officers. You said it's only Major Kandula, correct? You can use your mic. You can use your mic.
Okay. Yeah, Brigadier Kandura.
What about, or it's you who called the Mr. Chisepea? At any point he didn't contact you?
No, it's me who called Mr. Chisepe. He is our air navigation manager at the CAA. That's why I called him. With the rest of the names which are there.
Thank you so much. Why I was asking that, and Mwaza Sento asked, is because I hope you have read BFU reports, or at a certain point you appeared before, and okay, maybe let me confirm if you appeared before inquiry, the previous inquiry.
Okay, I appeared before the Air Wing inquiry, the BFU, and the other one which was instituted by the President.
All right. Now we're on the same page. And you had presented the 20 nautical miles communication, which you have also presented here. You did the same in the other inquiry, correct?
Correct.
Why, Chair, I was asking about the location. If you go to, Chair, BFU, not BFU, but the inquiry report on search and rescue, they said they based their first search, and I think even those who came here before, they said they had looked, the first search focused on the 20 nautical miles, the Bwengu, whatever area, instead of going to Chikangawa, because at first they had used your information of 20 nautical miles, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So if the search and rescue at that point focused on this side, it was because of your advice, whether it was wrong or bad advice, but it was based on your advice, is it? Of 20 nautical miles south. North, rather, not south, but north.
Correct to the north, but
all right. Chair, I wanted you to take note of that, because I think all people who have come here to talk about search and rescue, we are not yet there, of course, in that phase, but I think those who came, they have said they focused on that area based on that information which had given until later, which you have also indicated here, that the director had informed you that the one Airtel number has been picked around Chikangawa. That's when the search moved to Chikangawa, correct?
yeah, that's correct.
Now, General Kandula was here. You're saying, maybe let's first hear from you. Maybe it's a different one. The last page of your presentation at 1:20 p.m. You had advised authority to activate Rescue Coordination Center. Was this a national one or a region? This coordination center, which you are advising people to activate. I know you have talked about the commanding officer, Moyale, police commissioner. So was this a regional one or the national one? Because at the national one, we have had a different presentation. That there was another one which was coordinated here. There's another one which was coordinated at Zomba Air Base, according to presentation from General Kandura, which he had said they had also a team which they had assembled at their air base. So I want to understand, is this the same one or a different one? Yours was for region.
The one I'm talking about, it is for the national. So when you hear about the other one, about the Zomba Air Base, it's because the aircraft belonged to them. But otherwise, the Rescue Coordination Center in our airspace in Malawi is Kamuzu International Airport.
So you are the one who initiated the to have a rescue coordination center for a national one.
Correct, because I was the one who was the last person to be in contact with the aircraft, and then it was flying within my jurisdiction of area. So that's why I had to advise these senior people to say, can you now do activation of the Rescue Coordination Center?
All right, Chair, maybe you would also take note, because I think we were earlier on told that it was first activated here in Lilongwe by different I think all prayers according to what others came here and said. I think if I got it right, at the air wing, it was later on which they were transferring to Nzuzu. If I'll take a chair to the presentation from for General Kandura, he had said on bridge number 25, where they're saying the Department of Civil Aviation declared an emergency and relocated to Nzuzu. It's like they are relocating, not that it was activated in Nzuzu. Relocated to Nzuzu to commence search and rescue operations. And troops from 101 Brigade, 3MR, had already been deployed to that area. At that stage, the airport traffic controller at Nzuzu reported that the last communication with the aircraft, what we have already talked. So I wanted you to take note. That's why I'm asking, because I think we're having to.
Okay, Honorable Chair. That's why I'm saying maybe some of these things are technical. We cannot activate an RCC in Mzuzu. I have said RCC is done at Kamuzu International Airport. So I have to tell my bosses to say, can you activate? Because I am the one affected there. They should activate it here at Kamuzu International Airport. Then they take up the responsibility to say, there is this to be done. Then they take the people to the scene. I think that should be very clear.
If you are the one who contacted the people, as here we are saying, you called the commanding officer of Moyale Barracks. Do you have the name of the commanding officer for Moyale Barracks then?
I cannot recall the name, because they change now and again.
No, it's fine, because, Chair, that's what the witness did, to call the commanding officer of Moyale, Commissioner for Police North, and then in charge of airports police then. But then at the same time, we go to General Kandura's testimony. He says they're the one at around noon who contacted the 101 Brigade in Zuzu to determine the issues of search and rescue. So I don't know who maybe would help to, who really contacted who, because the same office, he said he contacted them at around 20 past 1, while General Kandura says they contacted the MD, the commander at Moyale Barracks at around noon. That's according to General Kandura, bridge number 21 on their submission. That's why I was asking as to who really activated the search and who was making this phone calls. Was it the witnesses here, or it was indeed the MDF? That's why, Chair, I was casting. So lastly, maybe I might come back later because I had so much of them, but let me give an opinion. Lastly, in that presentation, you are saying after activating the cause, at this time I assumed beyond reasonable doubt that fuel on board the aircraft has been exhausted and possible crash was imminent. I'm interested to the word crash. Why did you thought it was a crash, even before stage? Why you didn't thought of emergency landing elsewhere or whatever? But you have said you were so kind of beyond reasonable doubt, so sure that it can be a crash.
Thanks very much, Honorable Member. Through your chair, let me say this. In this report, we are dealing with military and civil. So, the military we are doing their part, and we are civil. So we have to notice the difference. So that's why you get the other reports from the other end and then to the other end. That's where the difference comes in. Secondly, to ask me about the crash, I have, in the statement, I have said the fuel on board was exhausted, which means a possible crash was imminent. If fuel is no longer there in the air, what happens next to the aircraft? Will it still be flying? The possible thing is a crash. Thank you, Chair.
Let's go to the last one, page 22, Chair of Inquiry Report. It talked about the communication you had with the crew on the way and when they are coming back. And it talks about the radio detection and ranging radar, which Kia has, but it's silent on the Nzuzu. I'm not so sure if Nzuzu has radio detection and ranging radar, which is used to track aircraft in the controlled airspace. Do we have at Nzuzu, or do we have in as of June 2024?
Thank you, Honorable Member. I think in my submission as well, I said that we use convectional control in some of our towers. So, the radar control is only done at Kamuzu International Airport.
All right,
not at Bakiri Muluzi. It's only at Kamuzu International Port. And then when the aircraft is 7,000 or below, even Kamuzu International Airport at a certain distance, it disappears on the screen.
Thank you so much, Chair. I think for now, let me stop there. Thank you so much.
I think we're going towards the end now. We have 3 more to take. So Zomba Tondwe, and then Mulanje North, and then Zomba City South.
Thank you so much, Chair. Good afternoon, Bwana Moyo. I think, Chair, allow me to just go through some gray areas where I'm not, I may need a bit of clarification. Number one, Mr. Moyo, is an easy one. When you're passing through Nzuzu Airport, there's a big signpost, and actually, I think the building is written in Nzuzu Airport. Does that distinguish it from the airdrome, or that you could comfortably confirm that it's an airport and not an airdrome, based on that?
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Mzuzu is an airport.
Thank you. Number two, I wanted to get a picture. You've been at Nzuzu Airport for 16 years. That's quite a long time. I wanted to get a picture on how busy Nzuzu Airport is. For example, in 2024, how many roughly flights might have made it to Nzuzu in terms of cycles or other landings?
I think statistically, I can call, maybe we have 8 movements per month. And I'm sorry to say that I didn't thought of bringing such information because I never thought about it. But I remember the other member, I think he called me, he asked me about the operations of the Donia in that particular month. Now you have made me to remember that I brought that information because they were about several flights carrying the president or other functions. So I only carried that one. That one I don't have at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. In your explanation on the lack of communication in Nzuzu with reference to information that you're linking with pilots, you also mentioned that the fire people would be interested to follow up on where the plane is. I wanted you to confirm that these people are expected to get that information in terms of location of the plane from you and not on their own. Can you confirm?
Thank you. Officially, they have to get the information from the tower. Because when they are going to do the search and rescue, I am not with them. They have to go. Their station head is the one who leads the search and rescue of the aircraft. So that is why I also wrote in my report to say the station fire officer told me that all the people in the plane, they are dead. That was official. I couldn't hear it from anybody else but from the fire personnel because they were the one who were dismantling the aircraft to disembark the other bodies in the aircraft. That's their duty.
Yeah, you've answered very well, very well. I should commend you for that. Meaning to say, in essence, if you look at Nzuzu Airport, you are the central point in terms of communication. Your office and indeed yourself were the central point for communication upwards and downwards. Would you confirm that?
Yeah, fam.
Thank you. Out of interest, I wanted to just alert you, you may not be the responsible person, but just to alert you that when you were getting the last communication at 12 minutes past 10 in the morning of that day, where you indicated that there was no distress signal, the plane was coming from where I would interpret it as a possible crash. Then it responded by a steep ascending angle. Immediately after, towards the end of that ascending, that's when communication was re-established with you, possibly because the terrain was left below. I just wanted you to think about it because the way the plane reacted, getting to the top, the obvious expectation was that the distress signal was supposed to come. Because immediately after that, the graph shows that there was, what do you call this? Descent, straight descent towards the crash. And then the final moment was a crash. So I just wanted to be on the same page with my colleagues to say that it really doesn't make sense that there was no distress signal. And that moves me to the element of recording. Are you aware, Mr. Moyo, that it's by law you are supposed to, if you're operating in the tower, you're communicating with planes, by law you are supposed to be recording, or you are not aware?
Okay, thanks, Honorable Member. I am very much aware that everything you are doing in the control tower, it has to be recorded. And soon after the incident or accident, they have to retrieve the information and keep it for safety, for investigation.
Thank you so much. Because in this case, we may have to trust you because you are under oath. Otherwise, if you were compromised, which in this case I don't think you would be, it means we could just be trusting your words without any evidence. So it's just a concern. That would move me, Chair, to another point which was mentioned yesterday by the station officer on communication. It's on record that you have a communication platform on WhatsApp for all people that work under at the airport, and Zozo Airport. And when there are challenges, you alert each other using that platform. I wanted to understand what action you took as a responsible officer, a responsible linking officer in terms of communication. Did you communicate to your colleagues on that forum? And at what time did you communicate?
Thanks, Honorable Member. On things like this, you don't just put them on the forum, because you can escalate information which others will interpret different. That's why I only do the communication when it comes to these issues with the fire people only, because they are the ones who do the fire and rescue. So it's between the two of us and the airport police.
Thank you so much. On VFR, visual flight rules, I'm sure you're quite acquainted with these rules, and I think they're just very few. You mentioned when you're responding to one of my colleagues that the minimum is 8 kilometers, acceptable one. And I was thinking, probably you might have forgotten something. Would you remember any of the rules covering 5 kilometers as an alternative to the 8? Or do you remember the VFRs?
Yeah, I do. I didn't forget anything. VFR, there are the visual flight rules, so it is like that.
Is it only the 8, or there's another alternative from your memory? For the sake of members of this committee. Because it may, sometimes if we don't get the right information, we may be misled, thinking it's only the 8. I just wanted you to be double sure.
On VFR, it is like that one. It's unlike when it comes to instruments.
Okay, thank you so much. As I wind up, Chair, I wanted to get an idea. Why do you think you have meteorological people at the airport, in your view, Mr. Moore?
Yeah, we have the meteorological people at the airport because we need to provide, they need to provide us with the required weather reports, because they are equipped with the right gadgets to forecast the weather. So our office cannot do without an aviation meteorological office in the airport. Or maybe I should take advantage of that, maybe because some other people, they might say maybe they do more because of the climate change and this, but when they are at the airport, they are aviation meteorological officers.
Thank you so much. Meaning to say these are experts somehow? That's what you're saying? Would you confirm that?
Not somehow, they are experts.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moore. I wanted you to just confirm that have you done any formal training on meteorology? Do you have any certificates?
I have been trained severally, but I don't have a certificate.
In essence, you don't have any formal certificate qualifying you in meteorology. You confirm that?
Yeah, I confirm. And I don't...
I think you've answered.
I don't... Yeah, okay, fine. But I don't think any other controller has got a certificate in meteorology, because the certificates, they are given to these meteorological guys which they work there.
No, I respect you. I just want to be clear. I know you are doing a good job. I think we can't dispute that. But we just wanted to be on the same page. But then my question is, I'm matching this information and asking, okay, before I go there, maybe I wanted to ask you, when you alerted the pilots that the weather visibility was 5 kilometers, and they thought of going towards Chikwendeni, did you alert the meteorologists so that they could also update their records?
Negative.
Why did you not think it was important for you to move with meteorologists who are experts at that airport? You are not an expert, and you have changed information of the experts, relaying it to pilots who are third parties with reference to the airport. Why did you not alert the experts after conveying this information, which was different from what the experts had given you?
Okay, fine. The other report came later, after I alerted them that, can you see now the visibility, what is happening at our airport? So, in our report there, I didn't indicate it, but I decided to bring the meteorological report of the 0800 because it was the one which officially was within the hour and the official contact which was supposed to be done with the aircraft. But that's why we also said we need to have a space when something go like that.
That's where I was going, actually, because, or maybe do you have any regrets? Do you think you could have done better after noticing this? Because what you're introducing to us is a very dangerous situation, which was refuted yesterday by the experts. They insisted that the weather was okay during that time. And you changed the information of the experts without giving them feedback. Don't you think that you could be blamed by the experts to say that you gave the pilots wrong information when the experts are insisting that the information was not in line with what you're saying? Do you have any regrets?
Before I can answer that one, which regrets? Maybe I should understand that one. Or if the way the experts were disputing, on what grounds?
I asked you, I'm coming from a background with reference to your response. What I would expect in a layman's language, layman's view, is that experts have given you information. It's like a doctor has given you information. Or let's stick to the meteorologists. They've given you information of the weather, and you have accepted they are experts. You're not an expert in weather. Now, they are liable. My colleagues, you responded to them like they are liable. If anything would happen, they would be responsible because they are experts. It's their information. But instead of using this information, you are giving a third party, like pilots, information based on your personal opinion, which does not tally with the experts' information. And you do not take, I would think that was better because you were trying to prevent something, but you do not take the responsibility to give them feedback so that they can move with you, so that in case something like this happens, you move on the same page. I thought if I were in your position, I thought that would have been a point of reflection where you could have thought maybe I should have given the experts a feedback because I had changed the information. I gave wrong information based on my opinion, despite me not being an expert. I don't know if it makes sense to you, Mr. Moore.
Okay, Honorable Member, it makes sense. But remember, when you are in this situation, you know for sure that I have said, I have given my observation, then you tell the meteorologist to say, okay, you can see this weather, I will need another space. And then, what happens later, me look around, where is my traffic? I have to lead with this one, looking for that aircraft, where is it? So the focus changes. Thank you.
But in terms of the procedures, okay, as I wind up, Chair, in terms of the procedures, you don't accept that you've given this committee a visibility of less than 1.3 kilometers with reference to the airport. You've also given this same committee a reference of a visibility of 5 kilometers. And indeed, the experts had given you 8 Ks, which means these 3 different figures are coming from you, and yet the experts are sticking to one figure of 8. You feel that is okay? And you could not give feedback? I rest there, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, I think if they are to stick to that one, it was a misrepresentation. Because if anybody here has been to Mzuzu, he knows what happens with the weather. 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, something happens. And for me, for sure, even because I haven't maybe listened to the other pilots from the Malawi Air Force, they will tell you what actually happens in Mzuzu. So to say it was 8 kilometers, no, we have already said here, 8 kilometers for a VFR flight normally is able to come to the airport and land. So if it was that information, I don't know whether you recorded it rightly or not. But if it was like that, I'm sorry to say you were misinformed.
Okay, so the weather report, he's disputing it. But what we have on record is that at 10 o'clock, visibility was 8 kilometers. At 11 o'clock, visibility was 8 kilometers. At 12 o'clock, visibility increased to 9 kilometers. Our concern is the error margin that is there between you and the meteorology. Okay, you were on 5, but an hour later, it's showing 8 kilometers. So the issue is the error margin. It's about 60% error margin, more than 60% error margin. All right, which in this case influenced the decision of the pilots. That's what everybody is saying here. So I don't know how you can further defend this, but it is in black and white. You have stated it, and this is how we are interpreting it. It may change maybe every 10 minutes, we're not too sure, but there was no space issued in between 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. Maybe you want to comment further, but I would like us to close the issue of the weather so we can now finalize.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The weather scenarios in Mzuzu, you can have a visibility of 10 kilometers at 5 minutes after the hour. Later on, you can start to have drizzle, low clouds, and the like, maybe to 4,000 meters. After 10 minutes, it will clear again, you have sunshine, bright sunshine. So that's what happens. Now, when we are giving the information to the aircrafts, you look at the time. Okay, this one is 3 minutes or 4 minutes to be on the ground. You can't wait for the space. do your observation, because the aircraft is not waiting for you there, it is in motion. So that's why we do that. Maybe, Honorable Chair, I can put it in that way.
Okay, we'll not belabor the point. I think it's been made.
I just wanted to refer something, if that's possible, on the way.
Okay, can I just get Mulanje North? He hasn't said anything.
Thank you very much, Chair. Mr. Moyo, you will have to bear with the committee. As you know, you are the last person to be in contact with the plane. That's why maybe, you know, a lot of questions are coming. You are one of the most crucial witnesses. So you have to bear with us if we keep on, you know. But I think as a summary in terms of weather, you can confirm that you are not an expert in weather. Is that correct?
Very correct.
And the experts gave you a report that indicated visibility to be at 8 kilometers. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And you disregarded that report and used your own observation when you are in contact with the pilot, and you gave 5 kilometers as your observation. Is that correct?
I think on that one I cannot say correct or no, because one thing you have to know is we are trained as observers. When we say experts, they are forecasters. So, I did not disregard the 8 kilometers. I have repeatedly said here that I gave that weather of 8 kilometers to the pilots. But knowing that, no, this information I have now at hand is not what is happening at the airport. So that is why I had to come up with that one. I was doing that for safety. All right? So
I think you've made a point that you used your own observation after you had observed that the weather had changed. The observation that the pilot used to make his decision. Is that correct?
not correct. I can explain to that no, because he didn't tell me that I'm doing this because they've given me this weather. And I don't know what was in his mind. So, to me, he did not do that because of what I told him. No. If he had something, he could have advised me. I think on aviation sector rules, that is what applies.
Thank you. But you can confirm that immediately after you told them that, the pilot told you that, then I'm going to explore a Gwendene route. Correct?
Yeah, correct.
Thank you. I'm done with the issue of weather. Now, I just wanted to find out, in terms of the practice or the standard procedure, or really you having been there for 16 years in Mzuzu, after the flight plan was, you had in your possession from Lilongwe to Mzuzu, at what specific time were you expecting contact from the plane as it approached Mzuzu?
I think it is stipulated there in the report. I was expecting it at 0750.
So when it did not turn out, were you surprised?
I cannot use the word surprised, but concerned. That's why after 5 minutes I started calling them to establish the communication. Thank you.
So, for example, if it is about 2, is it 2:10? The contact was supposed to be at what time? 9:50 or whereabouts?
9:50 was the latest.
So you got concerned, obviously, that it was strange, that coming from Lilongwe, you did not get any contact, and even beyond the time of touchdown. Is that correct? Was this something which was strange?
To me, it was not strange. It was like a normal practice.
That you do get you get no contact even well time after expected touchdown. Is that normal practice?
Normal practice because of weather conditions or something happens, or maybe something technical with the radios. So when you are on duty, you don't say this is strange. It happens.
In your 16 years time, has it ever occurred that you don't a plane leaves Lilongwe coming to Mzuzu, you don't get any contact even beyond the touchdown, expected touchdown?
I have had more than 2 scenarios. A plane even coming to touchdown and to park at the apron without radio contact. Why? Because his radio is 40. So that's why I said it happens.
Now, in this scenario where you've informed the committee and it's been your position that the last contact was at 10:12 and it was 20 according to the pilot, that is 20 nm north. Is that correct? That according to you, the last communication, that was what the pilot had told you, that they were around 20 nm north. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
And after the accident, it transpired that, in fact, at this time, the plane was somewhere in Chikangawa. That is south of Mzuzu. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Now, Captain, late Captain Lieutenant Sambaropa was of considerable, was of vast experience, and I think you can agree with me that he had flown on this route on so many times. Would it occur to you that he would mistake north and south? He would mistake Bwengu for Chikangawa, or Chikangawa for Bwengu?
I don't think so.
This piece, of what happened here, appear to you as something which is bizarre, isn't it? Which is strange. This time we can accept that this was strange, isn't it?
Yeah, very much strange.
You know, it's been there's some questions about around Bwengu. It's been kind of. I just wanted to find out from you, really, if the plane is coming towards, if they are saying they're going to use Chikangawa, do they, you know, cross over Mzuzu? How do they reach there? Maybe if, because I think we've been trying to put this in practical terms, because I think that question keeps on coming to say, I think you're tussled with the Casino as to whether it reached Mzuzu, did it not reach Mzuzu? So we just want to find out from you, if the pilot says, I'll come from Egwenden side, does he cross over Mzuzu, then come from, or how does he get that side? I think that will help, you know, we're trying to picture, you know, you are one of the people that are going to help us exactly what was happening or what was in the mind of the pilot. We really want to find out. If somebody says, mind you, he said he was already in quotes around Bwengu. So he says, I will come using the I'll explore the Chikangawa route. So we just want to find out, to get there from Liongwe, how does the plane maneuver?
Okay, thanks, Honorable Member. I think I should understand that instead of saying Kwendeni, you are calling it Chikangawa. I think so. It should be like that. So, when you are coming from Lilongwe, or any position from the south, if the controller has seen that the runway in use will be from the north, which is runway 17, you advise the pilot to come on the right-hand downwind. So on the right-hand downwind, if the clouds are too low, they go flying over to the southwest of the field up to Ekwenden. When they have ground...
Before you go flying, so you fly over Mzuzu. We want you in reference to Mzuzu. I think that's what we all want to, because I think there was that controversy regarding the position. So I think whatever explanation, you should be doing it in context of Mzuzu. You know, maybe going around Mzuzu, going over Mzuzu, so that we picture the explanation. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. When I'm saying on the right-hand downwind of the runway, I'm meaning you are now right-hand downwind of the Mzuzu Airport, which is to the southwest. You are coming from the south. All right? So, the traffic can go up to Ekwenden if he is not seeing the airfield. Weather permitting in Ekwenden, he sees the M1 road. He will come with it until at the base and then report on final. And normally they normally tell you, okay, at this position I am descending, I'm so much altitude, I am going to make a turn at Ekwenden. And you approve him because you know what are the weather conditions like. All this happens because we don't have got the navigational aids. I don't know whether I have answered your question.
Yes, partly. All I want you to confirm or to explain is that at this time when he had told you that 20 nm, north, the assumption that he had crossed over Mzuzu and gone towards the Rumpi and turning back from there. That's what we wanted. The assumption was that you had assumed that he had gone over Mzuzu and making now a turn from that side coming towards the city. Is that you had assumed when you got this communication?
Maybe the answer is when they go into Ekwendeni, do they bypass Mzuzu? So I don't think they necessarily fly over Mzuzu. Is that right? Because I see Ekwendeni is further. Is the word bypass or the? No, he needs to tell us. Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think I have to be very exact, maybe. They don't fly over Mzuzu. I was using the word on the right hand downwind. So maybe that's where maybe the honorable member couldn't take what actually I was trying to mean. So, or the better English to use is they fly a beam Mzuzu. Maybe. Can I explain?
I think that one is a bit like this. I think that's what I wanted was the when you just talk of the where the accident took place and where the alleged location was stated, it becomes confusing. But I just, since you've been in the tower, I just wanted to find out, maybe we'll ask the pilots, but in terms of location, how do pilots determine location? In the, maybe it might be a bit too, but I think you've been in the tower, been in the industry for too long. You should know. What do they use to determine location, to know that I am here, I'm passing by Ntandile? Because we are told, now this is beautiful, we are passing by such a place.
Yeah, in fact, you cannot work in the tower without knowing such a technology. So the thing is, we have got the route. The routes have got the coordinates. And you have the distance. That's why the aircraft is always equipped with the GPS. The GPS is the global positioning system. So, you get the coordinates of the airport. Then you know, I'm going this. I am at now, let's say put it, I'm now at Jenda, I am now at Mzimba. You will know by the distances. They are recorded on the aeronautical map. So, it's easy to locate where you are going.
So
And
in
then
this
when
context,
when you are in touch again with the controller, when he gives you the runway news, we give them in 2 figures normally, but there are degrees. Like what is in the report is 17, but it is 170 degrees. So you can't miss the airport. Thank you.
so in view of this strange, phenomenon where the pilot says north when he's in the south, would we possibly say the system, the GPS system, or whatever system that uses location was faulty in the plane? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I was not in.
Thank you. I think that's all we are from Mulanje North. Thank you.
Were you through with your response? Because you seem to have been distracted. Are you through?
Honorable Chair, I think I'm through.
Mr. Moyo, I'm from Zomba City South constituency. How are you doing? I haven't seen you taking water. Yes, yes. It has been a marathon for you, Mr. Moyo.
I might as well.
Okay, Mr. Moyo, mine will just be follow-ups because my colleagues have done a great job. So just a few follow-ups. Number one, it is to do with what you have responded to the honorable member from Mulanje North as whether it's normal practice for the flight to communicate with you at ATC, and you said yes, it's normal practice. You followed up at what points, and you said maybe at 9:50 you expected them to contact you, and when they didn't, you took it upon yourself to contact them. At what other point do you normally expect communication from the aircraft? It was at 9:50. I think it was hovering somewhere there in Chikangawa. But at what other point do you expect them to contact you at ATC?
Thanks, Honorable Member. When I am in Mzuzu Tower, I normally expect the aircraft to call me when she is at 30 nautical miles, because that's where I hand over again to Lilongwe.
So that means for the outward bound planes from Mzuzu going to Lilongwe, for example, they are the same points where you expect them to also communicate with you.
From Mzuzu for the handover to Lilongwe, that's correct. But there are other aircrafts from Lilongwe going to Mzuzu, those who fly at higher altitudes. I can give an example at 15,000 feet and above. They can call Mzuzu at 70 nautical miles, which is almost 160 something kilometers. Maybe they are somewhere in Jenda or the like. So it depends with the type of the aircraft.
So on this same 228, because it also flew from Mzuzu to Lilongwe on the same day, did it also make contacts with you on its way to Lilongwe, and at what point?
Yeah, we were in contact from the startup, taxiway, departure until when it was Abim Mzimba.
Thank you very much. So maybe you expected 2 or 3 contacts from the plane when they're flying from Mzuzu to Lilongwe, or the other way around?
I didn't get your question properly.
No, it was just a follow-up to what you answered earlier, to say that you are in contact with them throughout. So I was saying, so you expect maybe 2 or 3 contacts from the plane, minimum, when they're flying from Mzuzu to Lilongwe and vice versa.
Okay, it depends. Either it's a departure or arrival. On departure, the contacts can be only on the startup clearance to enter the runway and the clearance given to the aircraft to fly to Lilongwe, and then to the reporting point which I'm talking about, where somewhere at Abim Mzimba, then you hand over. But for the coming in aircraft, actually when there is bad weather, it's like you are always in contact, talking to each other. He will tell you, I'm descending, or maybe, oh no, I've met another cloud, I am doing this, I'm ascending again. So until he tells you, okay, I can now see Mzuzu, he tells you, okay, now I have seen the airfield. So there are several contact moments on the arrival.
Meaning that with the bad weather of the 10th in the morning, you expected more communication, frequent communications from the aircraft.
That's very correct.
Thank you very much. Now, you also responded earlier to a question that was posed by, is it Mayani or someone? And you said if you are not required to deviate from the filed route, but because of practice, issues of safety, pilots do deviate towards the lake when they're going to Nzuzu. I heard you said that. Can you confirm?
Yeah, I confirm. And I should also maybe make it clear here that VFR flights are not restricted. Correction, they are not supposed to maintain the route because of weather conditions.
Thank you very much. Now, having seen the route that the ill-fated craft took, maybe from the BFU report, etc., did it also surprise you that they took the route to the west, not to the east, the normal route that we're discussing, that they usually deviate to for safety reasons along the lake? Did it surprise you?
After looking at the BFU report, truly speaking, it surprised me.
Thank you very much. Did it also surprise you that despite filing FL 90, the flight never reached 9,000 feet on this entire journey to Nzuzu?
It didn't surprise me, because it only came to my mind as well to say this is, or this was because of the weather condition.
So it did not surprise you that you are flying below 9,000 feet in this weather?
Yeah, I was not surprised.
So you would expect them that in a bad weather like this one, they would fly below 9,000 and use the visual flight rules.
Actually, initially, they were not using the visual flight rules. Start of the journey. But because they came at a certain point to say, now we are going to Nzuzu and there are no navigational aids, they had to switch from IFR to VMC. If I look at the BFU, how it was behaving,
Thank you very much. I'm looking at the route that they took from Nzuzu going to Lilongwe. I can see that maybe they flew over Jinteje and the lake is just on their left as they're coming to Lilongwe. That's why I was thinking maybe this is a traditional route that they take. And I thought maybe you could also advise us what was the height or the altitude that they took from Nzuzu to Lilongwe on this particular day.
okay, let me check, just a moment. Thank you, Honorable Chair. On this particular day, they were using 10,000 feet from Zuzu, which is on flight level 100.
And do you recall the weather? Because the weather looks like it was the same at 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. According to what was submitted to us yesterday from Zuzu.
Yeah, the weather was almost the same. That is why if you can check on the departure route, they requested that after takeoff, they go along the lake and then they establish themselves around Dwangwa, then fly direct to Kamuzu.
Thank you very much. This is why we're asking to say, does it not surprise you that they use the same route towards the lake, along the lake, at 10,000 feet when coming to Lilongwe? When going back, they fly below 10,000 feet, actually below 9,000 feet, and then they take the Chikangawa route. Doesn't it surprise you, Mr. Moy?
To me, it doesn't surprise. One thing, we are talking about the rules here of the altitudes. When you are coming from Zuzu, you have to take the even levels. From Kamuzu, odd levels. So that's why when you are coming from Zuzu, it was 10,000 feet, and is coming from Kamuzu to Mzuzu at 9,000. This is to do with the separation in case there are other traffic. So you maintain 1,000 or 2,000 feet between them. So if the weather is not permitting, you can still descend or ascend.
Okay, Mr. Moyo, I will refer you to the BFU report on page 11, where it's written that according to the air navigation service provider, the co-pilot had filed the IFR flight plan for the flight to Zuzu with a crew briefing office of Lilongwe Kia. In the flight plan, she had given an estimated flight time to the arrival aerodrome as 50 minutes and endurance of 4 hours, and the alternate airports of Zomba and Chireka. In response to the aeronautical information officer's questions as to why the co-pilot filed a direct route and wanted to fly at a lower altitude, she replied that they had experienced bad weather on the flight to Lilongwe. So I know you have got rules, but I think the aeronautical officer was asking and was surprised, why do you want to fly at a lower altitude? Meaning the 9,000, which was filed to her, was lower altitude. So according to your statement, if it's true that when you're flying out of Lilongwe, you use odd, why was this officer surprised that instead of 10, these people are using 9? And it was a surprise to her.
Just confirm, you said that is from the BFU report?
BFU report, page 11, second paragraph.
Okay, sorry, Honorable Member, I don't have the report with me now, but let me say that if indeed the officer made that statement, it was wrong. Because if he is flying IFR and has indicated 9,000 feet, that is applicable to ICAO rules. And you cannot question somebody about that. Secondly, the duty officer had no I should say, shouldn't have taken the responsibility to say, why are you flying on this level? That could have been the duty of the air traffic controller, not from the AIS briefing office. He can only do that to say, okay, you are going to Mzuzu, I have not taken the levels required flying to Mzuzu, but not the altitude opted by the pilot.
Thank you very much. One of our responsibilities as a committee is also to look at the BFU report and also try to tighten it up here and there. Where it's not making sense, the chair and the committee are also going to report on the BFU report. So I think this is something that we have also taken note of. Chairperson, as I've said, my colleagues have exhausted all my questions, but the final one, I think it was Tondwe Mulanje who said your information, or maybe the information that you gave to the country, that a pilot said there are 20 nautical miles north of Mzuzu, led to search and rescue efforts being shifted towards Ikwendeni, and you have said it is very unlikely that the late Colonel Sambaropa could be confused between north and south. My colleagues have also hammered you, I should use that language, for providing this 5-kilometer visibility to the crew at 12 minutes past 10, which might have led to the pilot making a decision to change route towards Ekwendeni. These two issues, I wanted to emphasize on them because we have got no recorded information of that call that came from the pilot in command, and he's not here to defend himself. We are still looking at you to provide us with information that was given to you on that particular day. The 5-kilometer visibility which you provided, and yet you are not an expert of meteorology, is also something that we want to hear more. That's why, Chair, through you, I would request him to submit to the committee the documents where he is required to provide the weather information as part of his TORs. He mentioned ICAO. So we expect you, Mr. Moyo, to provide the chairperson with that information so that we verify that indeed you as a flight officer, you are mandated to provide this information. Because if it's not, then I think the chairperson and the committee will be interested to find out more. So finally, with those two issues, I'm tempted to ask you, Mr. Moyo, if on the 10th of June 2024, you were in the right mind, medically, if you had any illness, or indeed, if you are taking any medicines, any drugs. I'm asking this because we know you are very experienced, but in case whereby you are also you are not feeling well, you are under influence of certain medicines, maybe that could explain some of these inconsistencies. So, Chairperson, I just wanted him to confirm that on that particular day, he was in his right mind, health-wise, he was physically fit, and he was not taking any medicines that might have impaired his judgment. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I don't know what you mean by inconsistence, or what it means with maybe the health issues at that particular time, because otherwise I don't think explaining myself to this question.
Thank you, Chairperson. I started by referring to what you said in response to one of the questions, whereby you confirmed that it's unlike late Colonel Sambalova to be confused between his north and south. I think you said that. And also that you provided information about visibility in Mzuzu, which was beyond you in terms of your expertise. And I'm also asking, because you didn't come with the ICAO procedures or clauses that allow you to provide weather information to the pilots. So in absence of those ones, I'm asking, maybe, it's just a maybe, and I'm underlining maybe. Maybe you had some health issues on that particular day. Maybe you are taking some medicines on that particular day. We just want to rule out that. Because if you rule out that, then indeed we should be believing you to say, yes, I think this is what transpired. Ken Osambaropa is not here to defend himself, whether he said indeed 20 nautical miles north. And there's no recorded information on that transaction that you had with the late Ken Osambaropa. I didn't want to ask to say, what are your drinking habits? But I'm just, because I'm a doctor, I'm looking at the medicines only. So maybe, Chair, if you take the floor, maybe. But you also don't drink. But I'm asking on the side of medicines. Chair, submit.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Minister. I don't know by what you mean that somebody doesn't drink. I don't know. But all the same, the thing is, I can also not submit myself to what happened to Ken Osambaropa. As I have already put it, he's not here. So I cannot say he misjudged between the north and the south. That's why I say, I am not so sure of what happened, because I don't know. But what I get is the information that the pilot has transmitted on my radio or on my frequency. That's what I put it on the paper. So that's that, Honorable Chair. Thanks.
I think we can wind up. Yeah, let's wind up. Mine is just Mafana Malize. Okay.
Chair, I am just interested with a few parting questions, and I wanted to refer to the weather report that was provided yesterday by Mrs. Chavunguma. I wish if I can share this copy with Mr. Moyo, if that's possible, because my questions will be referring to this copy. Yeah, so I just wanted to, Chair, if you look at the copy of weather that he has brought today, he has only quoted the 10 a.m. weather, and but Mrs. Chavunguma quoted the weathers for copied the weather from 4 a.m. up to almost in the afternoon. I just wanted to bring to your attention only the signatures on that report of the observer, and then have you noticed that signature there, the observer?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, like from 4 a.m. To the subsequent times, 4 a.m. GMT to the subsequent times, and by around 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. the signature of the observer has changed. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted you to, then there's the other signature there at the bottom. It is looking consistent throughout the whole presentation. Have you noticed that?
Which bottom?
There are only two signatures appearing on the observer, and then there's another signature which doesn't have a reference, but it is just appearing at the bottom on the numbers there. At the bottom.
I have seen it.
Okay. Since you've been there for about 16 years, Do you know these individuals with these 3 different signatures?
Correct. I know them. Where it is written observer, I know he was the one who was on duty until the other one came in. The beneath signature, that's my signature. That's why it is continuously there.
Okay. According to your experience, we know Mrs. Olive Chavunguma. Is she in one of those signatures as observer or any other?
She is not there.
Have you noticed that the part on checked by is blank throughout?
Very correct. It is blank because that one is done by the forecaster. At that particular time, we didn't have a forecaster. We only had an observer. That's where the signature is.
Since there is a discrepancy between the presentation on your visibility assessment, the 2 officers, they look like they are maintaining the visibility assessment. And now you are coming in as a 3rd observer on the visibility assessment. I am trying to understand, do you know the qualifications of these observers? Because I want to know who has a higher academic qualifications or what. I just want to know if you know their qualifications of the professional qualifications of these 2 observers. Because you have said the Met expert, who is Mrs. Olive Chavunguma, who is the overall boss, has not signed anything here.
Okay, thanks very much. I think on the academic qualifications and the like, it doesn't matter when it comes to professionalism. So I will only say these people who are here, the signatures are here. They are the aviation meteorologists observers. That's their qualification. That's the certificate they hold.
Okay, so you are assured that they have a special certificate in whatever they were doing here. But then their supervisor, whenever there was that discrepancy with what you had observed, I guess maybe it was the time for you maybe to ask the higher authority at that moment who was their supervisor. Or should we assume that the supervisor was part of the observation? Is that the way you work?
Okay, thank you. I don't have to go that far to check in somebody's office. But what I know is I have got the meteorological weather report. It is signed by the observer. He has given it to me. And I have checked it. I have seen it is okay. Then I sign for it. Because I don't just assign my signature there if this information is incorrect. And you have also to bear in mind, I have said this report, they are done hourly. There is like a maintenance of the visibility at a certain point. All right? But what I have said is the weather can change within minutes. Sometimes we have witnessed aircraft saying, no, I think this weather, I am not going to land. He flies for maybe 5-10 minutes. How is the weather there? It is now clear. No clouds. I'm coming back. He comes back. He's about to land. The weather changes again. Then he said, no, I'm going back. So he said, the controller is cheating the pilot? No. I am not to do with the nature myself. It just comes, I have to advise the people.
Now, on that one, you are very safe because the Met expert yesterday indicated that there were Chipiloni winds and the Mwera winds, something like that, and that there was that. So somehow the changes with the speed of wind and all that, I totally agree with you. I just wanted finally to know about your I could put it in the catchment area, or where do you say for a plane that is coming to Nzuzu, at which point do you say the plane is now in the hands of Nzuzu? I heard of a NASA something that you people NASA airspace, something like that. So for Nzuzu, at which point geographically would you try to put it to say you are now in the airspace of Nzuzu? Chair, I'm asking that question particularly because somebody might interpret that arriving in that airspace, it means you are now in Nzuzu. So I want him to explain that which distance do you call Nzuzu in terms of kilometers, to make it simple.
All right, Honorable Chair, I think I answered this question earlier on. But all the same, let me put it very clear. Nzuzu doesn't have an airspace. The position you are saying in NASA, it is on the route where the terminal control area of Kamuzu International Airport terminates. So from Kamuzu to that, we call it a reporting point, that NASA is 50 nautical miles. From there, the aircraft can contact Nzuzu. But still more, if the other one is flying at a higher level, more than 14,000 feet, he is still under Kamuzu. But for the purposes of weather, if at 50 nautical miles position NASA, he can contact Nzuzu. You only get the weather, not the clearances to descend or whatsoever. No. Responsibility still becomes in the hands of Kamuzu, because he is the owner of the airspace in Malawi. So I think on that one I can end it there.
Thank you, Chair. My last is just an observation, Chair. I just wanted to say we have this challenge here that we have a military aircraft flying without recording devices, the black box and whatever. That's the assumption. And then we have the airport which has totally no recording devices, and then it's carrying the VVIP. And then that's the challenge that we have at this moment as a country. Thank you.
I think we should now come to a conclusion. I'm just curious, just out of interest. There's a handwritten report at the back attached. Do you recall this report? I think you're the one who attached it.
Yeah, that was I retrieved it from the rock book, from what was happening on that particular day. So that one is in the log book. And I read somewhere in the sermon that maybe if you have got some log books, so I just captured that one. So, okay, this is what I wrote in the log book on that particular day.
So when was this written? Would you recall?
It's written at the same time the things are happening. Or it is written at the moment you enter into the office that you are starting the duty. So if you can see, I opened the office at 0430, which is 0630 local. So I had all my things there, you can see, until the incident and then the accident.
No, I was just curious why you didn't mention the major milestones of 5-kilometer visibility in this report. 20 nautical miles in this report. Because for me, there were major issues that should have been reported or recorded on that particular day. So I read through, I couldn't find 5-kilometer visibility. A report you wrote on the day. I couldn't find 20 nautical miles, a report you recorded on the day. It was just very basic. And then you come to this report, and this report is more elaborate. Okay, I'm wondering, how did you recall all that information 2 years later? Okay, and then even the report on how the decision to go to Ikwendeni on this day, it just says the pilot was proceeding to Ikwendeni, you know, as if something didn't trigger the pilot to go to Ikwendeni. So I was just trying to understand, when was this issued? 2 years later, there's more information, you know, that is coming up here.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. I have said this one is written in the logbook, so we only mainly dwell on the timings and the registration of the aircrafts and the people who were on board. That's why something to do with meteorological is not actually recorded in that report. I could not say that report, or I should say this one is like a daily log, or what we call an occurrence book. So we just put that preliminary information. Now, on the other report, you are saying I'm putting it 2 years later. If you look at the report, I wrote it on the 12th June. Yeah, so everything was concluded on the 11th. So when I looked at my occurrence book, and then when I took my progress strips, which I have, so I had all the information, the timings, and the like. So it wasn't a problem. Thank you.
No, you've clarified very well. Meaning to say there was no specific report for the committee. What we're reading now is a report that was submitted then. You came here, you read your report, which was prepared in 2024, right? Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Correct. Understood. You must be a very busy man. At the office, you're also the officer in charge. You do a lot of things there. Am I correct? Last time we came there, we felt for you. Are you still doing all those things? Manager, supervisor, accountant, administrator? Can you confirm?
I have only left one position of the officer in charge. It is now in the other hand of another person. But the rest I'm still maintaining.
That's the pressure you're under. And I hope on that particular day you're not under pressure attending to other critical activities and other stuff. But there's clearly a need there for clear separation of roles and responsibilities. You can't have an officer and an air traffic officer doing all those things. And we feel for you, we empathize, and hopefully some changes have to be made as we make our recommendations. But this is one of the observations we made. You may have final words to say. We've had a long chat with you, probably one of the longest, but understandably so. Do you have your final words?
Thank you, Chair. Not much to say about, but I can only say thank you for inviting me to this ad hoc committee. It has been a pleasure, though it has been long, but something has been learned. And I hope something is going to change through your reports. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I sure we'll meet at our usual place. Today is Friday, so I'm inviting you to a glass of juice and plenty of water. Okay, but we're wishing you a safe journey back. I hope the weather is okay now in Chikangawa, but we're wishing you a safe journey back. Thank you very much. You may take leave.
Ambiri mwakhala mukudera nkhawa kuti kodi mavuto amene tili nawowa tidzathetse bwanji. Mavuto ngati kusabereka, khunyu, misala, kodi mukufuna chikoka cha bizinesi, mukufuna kulanga wakuba, magic wallet, kukwezedwa pa ntchito, kapena mukufuna kutsirika thupi, kuwinitsa loto ndi zina zambiri. Yankho la zonsezi lapezeka.
Kodi muli ndi vuto la kusabeleka, khunyu, misala, mukufuna chikoka pa bizinesi yanu, mukufuna kulanga wakuba, mukufuna magic wallet, mukufuna kukwezedwa pa ntchito, kutsirika thupi, kuwinitsa loto ndi zina zambiri.
Dr. Makoti omwe amapezeka ku Blantyre Lilongwe Salima komanso Kasungu, amenewa ali ndi yankho la mavuto onsewa. Imbani foni 090 815572 kapena 089142038 kapena mutha kuyankhula nawo pa WhatsApp pa nambala ya 0893 004116. Mukatero muyankhulana ndi Dr. Makoti pa WhatsApp. Dr. Makoti, Dr. Makoti, mavuto aja aone msana wa njira.
Kodi muli ndi vuto la kusabeleka, khunyu, misala, mukufuna chikoka pa bizinesi yanu, mukufuna kulanga wakuba, mukufuna magic wallet, mukufuna kukwezedwa pa ntchito, kutsirika thupi, kuwinitsa loto ndi zina zambiri.
Mwayesayesa ntchito sikupezeka, mwana mnyumba kusowabe, chitaka pa bizinesi yanu chakusokonezani, wosadandaula kuli Dr. Maiye ku Mbulumbudzi.
Muitano wa bizinesi, mwai wa ntchito, kukonza nsoma banja, kusula chibelekero,
matenda okanika kuchirawo, matsoka osatha pa moyo wanuwo, lero pabanja makukuthothani, wosadandaula tangoimbani foni pa 0894 352 832 0894 352 832. Dr. Maiye, madotolo wa chinyengo musamale. Kodi munamvapo za Dr. Erube kwa Vumbwe?
Dokota Erube, Dokota Erube. Dokota Erube, Dokota Erube.
Kodi mukufuna mwitano wa bizinesi mtupatupa, timabwezeresa banja likasokonekera kwa mphindi 40, timatsirika munthu akaberedwa, chuma, bizinesi ziziyenda bwino, bwerani kwa Dr. Erube kumene timathandiza zonsezi. Nkhani zachitaka zavuta, bwerani kwa Dr. Erube, timathandizanso mwitano komanso kuvalirana anthu nkhope. Mukafuna kudziwa zambiri, imbani foni pa 089 94 26491 0899 426491, ndipo mukatero mudzathandizidwa. Dr. Erube, Dr. Erube, Dr. Erube, hana chepa.